breathe it, I sleep it, I eat it. It's my entire life. What I do as a principal, what I do as an educator, what I do as a motivator.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
I tell my staff, I tell my students, I tell my parents all the time that I'm unemployed, I have no job. I wake up to my mission. I wake up to my passion. I've been a principal now for 13 years. At North Tech, I'm in my 5th year. When I came here, I heard the stories about what it used to be. So I came in very hardcore. I knew what I wanted from the outset. I knew what these young people were capable of doing, and we went to work on it. And here we are, with 98% of our students graduating having passed state standardized tests in language arts and 88% having passed the mathematics portion. U.S. News and World Reports magazine recognized us as one of America's best high schools for 2 consecutive years. We're doing a phenomenal job here.
Kafele is a principal in the best sense of the word. He's a master teacher. He begins every day by teaching over the intercom.
We're on the move. We're in flight. Hopefully you had a great weekend, but much more importantly, it was a productive weekend because you completed all homework assignments. You proceeded to study for a minimum of 2 hours in a quiet environment.
Morning announcements are very important because it sets a tone for the rest of the day.
Have your best day yet while maintaining a most positive attitude. Tech, we're on the move.
People ask the question, what's so different about your leadership from other people? I say it's very simple. If I can change the attitude, the content will fall into place.
Power Monday is, every Monday, the student body has to dress up. Professional style, shirt, tie, slacks for gentlemen, ladies in their business attire. And it's to show that for the whole day you will be empowered.
When Power Monday first started, I hated it. I did not like dressing up. But once I got used to it, it was like, okay, it's something that's going to help me in my future.
Visiting classrooms every day is a very important aspect of what I do. You show me a principal that you can find in the office on a regular basis, and I'll show you a school that doesn't have leadership.
Things will be going well in the classroom, he'll walk in and it'll go even better. The kids want to show him what they know because there's such a respect for him.
When I see Mr. Kafele coming into my classroom, I'll be like, okay, he's observing me, how am I performing, so I'm gonna do my best. Not to impress him, but just to show him that I'm working towards that goal that he has.
Matter of fact, let me see you again real quick.
He can stop some students in the hallway and say their entire report card to them. And we've got 750 students. So when he says, hey, you got that C in math, you gotta bring it out, that's powerful to them.
Principal Kafele motivates everybody in the school to perform their best.
Become the 100% club. 100%ers, another 100%. Right. 100%.
I'm very demanding. I expect that every student does all homework assignments 100% of the time.
It is housekeeping time.
The teachers provide me with a list of whatever students didn't complete homework, and we read their names off over the PA system.
The following 3 students report to my office.
We call them down to let them know that they have what I call readathon the next morning. That means that that's a time to sit still, sit quietly, and just read a book.
Gentlemen.
One thing that I want them to get is responsibility.
Kafele calling everyone over the PA for not doing homework teaches you that you have a responsibility here, and your responsibility here is to excel.
He treats the children as his own. They look up to him, I guess, as his father, because a lot of them don't have fathers.
Even though my father is not with me, Mr. Kafele was a person that inspired me, that motivated me to do better in life.
His students have his cell phone number. They can call him 24 hours. And that's really unheard of.
There's very special people that you run into once in a while, and Brody Kafele was one of them.
He's the kind of man they make movies about.
When I look into my students' faces, what I want to see is hope. Not my hope for them, but hope within themselves.
I feel that I am prepared to face the world because of my experience here at Nook Tech.
Since my freshman year, I've been growing and growing more, and now I'm an honor student.
To wake up and go and motivate and inspire or to educate other educators or young people or parents, I couldn't ask for a better life.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to week 298 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. I'll talk to y'all about that video in a minute, but let's see who we got here. Ooh, we got a lot of people here. We got AP Patrick Lawrence is in the building in Connecticut. We got the good Dr. Rachel Edeweckett in Maryland. We got Amelia Lange in Ewells, Texas. Mrs. Yolanda McKinney is down in Texas. Arlette Johnson from Connecticut, our former AP assistant principal of the year. We got Nadira Coley, Newark, Brick City. We got Rodney Richardson, Hampton, Virginia, the principal Otis Kitchen II in Tampa, Florida. We got Lysandra Brackens is in North Carolina. Chancellor Davis, Las Vegas, Nevada. We got Fatima Nelson is in Pennsylvania. Takesha High is in Virginia. Marsha Poe is out in San Diego. Robin Snowden Harambe is in California. Janine Wilkins is in Alaska. I appreciate you getting up so early, man. You know I do, Janine, every time you do, man. It's early in the morning out there in Alaska. I just did something real silly with my page. Hang on, there we go. We got Joy. We got Stacy L. Joy in the building, LA. That's early too. Stacy, you coming to KnowledgeCon this Saturday and Sunday in LA. I'll be there Sunday if you're coming. That's going to be a nice conference under my man, Principal Amin Ra. Where we at? We got Professor M. Abba is in the building. That's in Staten Island, Shallon Island. We got Dr. Garcia. Somebody said, how he know that? Oh, come on, y'all. Dr. Garcia, I see you. Edwin Garcia, now principal, also an author. I got to get that book so I can put it on the screen for you too. I got that. Grace Castaneda is in the building. Kyle, Texas. Tracy Gray, Houston. Mrs. Truesdale, AP is in the building. Where we at? She's from Atlanta, Georgia. My man, Ronald Pugh, Cedar Hill, Texas. David Bell, Benton Harbor, Michigan. Jacqueline Harriet, up and over in Nova Scotia, Canada. Where we at? Deborah Melton Brown is in the building. Kimberly Broughton Kafele, the queen of this hotel room, right? I'm out in San Juan, y'all, man. I'm praying for this Wi-Fi to stay strong. Usually when I'm on the islands, I get a dedicated Wi-Fi, but I forgot, right? So here we are. Costs a lot more money. You know, they charge me hundreds of dollars for that dedicated Wi-Fi, right? They don't give it to me. They're like, all right, that's about $300-400. So, hopefully this is going to hold out for me. LaKenya Rowland, I'm getting ready to stop it. We got 2 jerseys back-to-back in September. Devon Vance, also in Jersey. Charlena Hottie in Norfolk, Virginia. John Herricks in Denton, Texas. My man, Dr. Salone Thomas L., he said, rise up out in, I don't know where you at, man. We'll just say Philadelphia, Delaware, right? So, or Philly, Wilmington. Hey, Salone, by the way, real quick, and then I'm going to get ready to go to my folks. Salome Thomas L. Dr. Salome Thomas L., are you ready for that 49ers beatdown? Oh, my God. Right? So, but that's a little bit later. Dr. Melissa Jones Chudu is in the building. Arlette Johnson, I said that. I'm gonna close it right here, and I'm going to say to everybody, good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 298 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. Y'all see, I put that emphasis on consecutive, man, because it is what it is. I haven't missed a week. 298 weeks of sitting before this computer live. 290 weeks of spending 2 hours preparing an agenda, of reaching out to my guests, all that kind of stuff, man. Guess how much I get paid to do this, though? Zero, right? So, it's just a labor of love. Somebody asked me just this week, they're like, why don't you have sponsors and all this stuff, right? I said, man, I ain't trying to make no money off this, man. This just something I do. But Kafele, you could be making so much more. Man, God, y'all, you don't understand my relationship with God, baby. I'm good. So see, when you got that kind of relationship, you ain't gotta be like looking for no sponsors here and there, because God be like trickling it be coming, right? So that's how I get down, y'all. So enough there. I see my man Vincent Stallings. I always gotta recognize him, Dr. Vincent Stallings, V23U, V232US. I gotta ask him what that means one day. I've been knowing this dude since he was 17. He's been using this particular number, V232US, since I've known him. Well, since email. I don't know what that means. Right? I gotta find out. All right, y'all, let's go. I got a question for you. Same question. How you feeling? Right? No politics with the question. How you feeling? I feel good. Y'all see it. I was kayaking yesterday. What I know about kayaking, man. The lady, in full disclosure, when I got back to where you get on, right? You get off. I couldn't get out that little thing, man. That lady, man, she had to give all the muscle she had in her. She pulled me, right? I couldn't get up, man. I'm like, yo, am I gonna be stuck in this thing, or do I have to get in the water, right? So she said, let's try it again. So she's like, ooh, and she got me up out of there, man. I felt so embarrassed, right? But I got up out of there. Man. But anyway, I see my former student here, Shanavia Davis. I see you. Yeah, that was a North Tech clip, maybe. Oh man, that was a good one. Hey, y'all. Hey, let me ask you the other question. What you gonna do this week? Right? What you gonna do this week to take your game to another level? In fact, I skipped one. What were your wins last week? Right? Just what went well? What went well? I'm talking so fast, y'all. Slow it down. What went well? Right? But what you gonna do next week that takes whatever went well last week to another level? Right? That matters. You know, that video I showed. That's when, you know, Milken. When I won the Milken Award, that's what the pin is. Let's see. Man, everything reversed, man. I don't know where it's at. Here it is. Got to look down at the actual pin. Can't look at the screen. There it is, right? December 1, 2009. I showed you the notification last week, but then they called me. They said, we want to come by your school, and we want to follow you with a camera for 2 days. I'm like, man, that's going to be awkward, man. My kids, you know, I'm in the inner city, man. I'm in North New Jersey. Them kids don't want no camera around that building all day like that. So, you know, so we did. I told my kids, you know, they just be yourselves. And when I look at some of them on the camera, they were not themselves, man. Like the camera coming, they looking the other way, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? But what a day, man. They followed me for 2 days, and they were able to kind of capture who I was as a principal in a 4-minute clip, you know. So if you didn't see it, you came on late, just when we're done, just rewind it and check it out. It's about 4-minute video. So it's a profile of me and my principal shoots, right? Back in it was in 2010 that they shot that, January of 2010. Welcome to the first timers. If this is in fact your first time, that means you've missed 297 sessions. You got a lot of catching up to do, but the beauty is you can go right to YouTube, which is where we're asking our folks to watch us live. If you're sitting here watching me on Facebook right now, get off of there and go to YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. Stay there now, but next week, come on YouTube and watch us on YouTube. I'm trying to take everybody over to one platform, but I'm not rushing that, but I'm just saying it every week. But going over to YouTube at AP and New Principals Academy, that's the main platform for the main platform for this platform. AP and New Principals Academy. Hit the subscribe button when you get there. Hit the notification bell once you hit the subscribe button so that you're informed. But when you hit that subscribe button, that makes you one of 24,700 subscribers. That's a lot of people. We can't fit all them people at a Knicks game at Madison Square Garden, right? That's how many people subscribe to this channel, right? So 24,700. A Knicks game only holds 20,000 is 20,000 capacity. So that means 4,700 people would have to watch it on their phone outside of Madison Square Garden. So be a part of that number, right? Just subscribe to us. That's what I want you to do. Where we at? Shout out to I ain't do no work this week that I need to shout out to, but shout out to San Juan, man. It's been a great week. It's still sunny outside. Puerto Rico. I still got another full day today, and then we out of here tomorrow, Sunday to Sunday. Where we at? You know, folks, let me pull up this. Let me pull this conference up right quick. Where we at? I got this conference coming up that many of you are aware of, but maybe some of you are not. So let me put it on the screen right quick. I want you to come to Jersey, right? If you're already in Jersey, then fine. But if you're not, I want you to travel. I want you to travel to Jersey. Seton Hall University. We got a big conference. I'm co-hosting with TISA. That's Dr. Tanya Breland, Dr. Erica Leek, And we're going to be at Seton Hall University in South Orange all day long. My man, the one I just talked to, Dr. Salone Thomas L., known as Principal L., he's going to be our opening keynote speaker. And then we got all these folks, man. We got about 18 breakout session presenters, but we want you to register early. Like, it's really not early now, it's late. But we want you to register now so we can have a sense of the numbers, right? And the planning and all that kind of thing. So you can use the QR code to the right or the website on the left. But come on, if you're in Jersey, then just come on down the Turnpike or the Parkway. If you're not in Jersey, then how are you going to get here? If you're in New York City, you know how to get to Jersey. If you're outside of New York City, then how are you going to get here? You down in Washington, Baltimore, wherever, just jump on 95 and come on up and spend the day with us. But it's going to be a great conference. I attached my name to it, so I'm looking forward to it. So we want to see you in the building. But speaking of that, and I'm gonna keep that up there in case anybody's trying to get that picture. My Leadership Institute that I do every year. This is the 9th annual School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. That'll be in Savannah this year, Savannah, Georgia. We haven't put the Eventbrite page up yet, nor is it on my website yet, but it'll be there within days. Right, within days, and then you can start registering. It's 2 days, July 9 and 10. Again, July 9 and 10, Savannah, Georgia, School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. I've been doing this for 8 years. No 2 years is the same content. So this is the 9th year. It will not be last year's content or the previous 8 years. It's always new content, right? So you can come. We got a young lady that has been there every year. Right. And the reason she comes every year is because it's been beneficial to her and the content is always different. Right. So be on the lookout for that. Let me get that off the screen. Stop sharing. There you go. Where we at? I got a monologue, y'all. Let me do my monologue right quick. I've been kind of praying on this monologue, by the way, all week long. It's called Social Media Pressure. And then in parentheses, peer pressure, right? Again, social media pressure, in parentheses, peer pressure. Here's what I'm saying. And the reason I've been praying on it is because I'm not completely comfortable in speaking this publicly. Privately, I'm very good with it, but publicly, I don't want to be just misinterpreted in terms of what I'm saying. But let me go with it. There's a lot going on in the world, and I'm not going to get political. I try not to. But there's a lot going on in the world, and there are many of us, including myself, that want to comment a lot, want to comment on everything. But see, this platform, it's interesting. This is a school leadership platform, district leadership platform. Parents tune in, teachers tune in, but it's an education platform. And I'm looking at, we watch the news here in my area in Jersey, we get New York City news, right? And I'm looking at the new mayor, Zoran Mamdani, and some of his cabinet members made some posts years ago, like almost a decade, that don't necessarily reflect who they are now. But people went digging and they found the post. So now the posts, they haunt people, right? So I'm saying here, this is not my normal monologue. This is me reminding family to be responsible in how you utilize social media, right? Here you are, a principal, an AP, an aspiring school leader, whatever it is you do. Well, let me look at it. Let me break this up into segments. On the one hand, let's say you just want to talk about it. Okay, fine. But if you're leading a school and you got folks on your staff that you are relying on to come in with high levels of energy, excitement, enthusiasm, passion for the work, but then they're seeing your views politically, which they're your views, no problem. But you go in public with them. Now your staff sees that. And now they looking at you funny because they're so diametrically opposed to your interpretation of the world. So I'm not here to say to you, therefore don't post. That's not my position. That's not even my place. I am here to say, consider the thought, right? Because I wouldn't want you to post something that haunts your relationship with your staff later on, your superior later on, your possibility for growth to the next level later on. That's all I'm saying. myself. I'm an educator. You know, I'm Principal Kafele, but let me remind my fam out here who else I am. I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur, right? So as much as I want to post, I literally cannot post because my posts, my social media pages are not called Baruti Kafele. I have no social media page called Baruti Kafele. My social media pages are called Principal Kafele. Well, guess what? My wife, who's right in the next room, has never called me Principal Kafele in her life unless she was joking around. My children don't call me Principal Kafele unless they're joking around. My friends don't call me Principal Kafele unless they're joking around. I'm called by my first name or my nicknames, right? Somebody said, "What's the nickname?" Don't worry about it. Right. So now you got to know me a little better. Right. So now what happens? So I'm saying that to say this. This platform you watching me on right now, unless you're on YouTube, then it's called AP New Principals Academy. That's business. I can't take my personal views on things and put them in my business. My business is here. That's Principal Kafele. Matter of fact, the full name, Principal Kafele Consulting, LLC. Baruti Kafele is over here. There are no platforms on social media with that name. See? So therefore, I have to be wise with how I utilize social media. And I have to be cognizant of the fact that never on social media is that Baruti, or as they call me in Jersey, Brother Baruti, or as they also call me in Jersey, Brother Kafele. That's not him. This Principal Kafele. I hope you see the difference. So for this monologue, I'm simply saying to fam, I'm not trying to deter you. That's you. That's you. You do what you gotta do. But because I lead a platform that is widely viewed, I feel it my moral duty to remind, particularly since I'm probably the oldest one that's on here, because I look at all my data. My YouTube data says that I'm the oldest, right? Everybody that watches this is significantly younger than me. So I feel an obligation to just remind folks, be careful what you type in the heat of the moment, because it might haunt you later on professionally, which could impact who you are personally, right? Just keep that in mind. And I'm a kind of keep that right there, because I got my guests and we got a lot to talk about today. So that's my monologue for today. My topic, y'all, before I bring them up, 3 Milken Educator APs talk meaningful AP leadership. Before I matter of fact, I want to bring them up on this. Let me get this screen right. I got something else in the background, so let me switch that up and get the right background on. Yeah, I got it. Let me get my little logo up here. There we go. And let me get my guest up here. And there they go. Hey, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. To the fam out there, this is again, every January we do Milken Saturdays for the AP and New Principals Academy, and this is just 3 more of my Milken fam. They received the Milken Award. Ariel in 2024, Lauren in you told me 2019, mm-hmm. And Ryan, Dr. Sykes in 2018.
19.
So, 19. Yeah, y'all brother and sister. Yeah, 19, Milken brother and sister. So we bring on our Milken folks, particularly during this time. Doesn't mean I can't bring on Milken during February through December. But I like to highlight Milken recipients during the month of January. So let me tell you a little bit about them. They're all 3 are currently APs, although all 3 didn't receive the Milken when they were APs. We'll let you know that. I had Lauren's last name in my mind the way I thought, the way I was interpreting it, but I was all wrong. So let me see if I can get this right. Lauren Sepulveda.
Perfect.
You sure about that? All
I'm
right.
100% sure.
She's an award-winning educator from with New Haven Public Schools, that's in Connecticut, recognized for her unwavering commitment to academic growth, providing student leadership opportunities, and overall school improvement. With 15 years of experience in the district, Lauren has established herself as both a passionate teacher, ensuring opportunities for student voice and choice in and out of the classroom, and as a collaborative leader who believes in the collective efficacy of the entire learning community. Her exceptional contributions to education have earned her some of the field's most prestigious award honors, including the 2018 New Haven Public Schools TAPS Award, 2019 Milken Educator Award, and being named the 2018-19 New Haven Public Schools Teacher of the Year. In 2021, her innovative approach to teaching history led to her selection as a Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes Fellow. Lauren holds a 6-year degree in educational leadership from Quinnipiac University, a Master of Science in Social Studies curriculum from Concordia University, and a Bachelor of Science from Southern Connecticut State University. Strong stuff. Ariel Horton. Ariel Horton. That's another one. I had Ariel in my
You've got it.
I had that in my head for a year though, right? So a proud 2-time graduate of Howard University, Ariel Horton earned her Bachelor's of Arts in English in 2011 and her Master of Arts in Elementary Education in 2012. Since then, she's dedicated her entire 14-year career to the same Washington, D.C. public school community, where she served as a classroom teacher, math instructional coach, and now assistant principal. Throughout her tenure, Ariel has worn many hats, each reflecting her passion for student engagement and school spirit. She's directed school plays, coached the cheerleading team to a first-place division championship, coordinated memorable fun days, led a Girl Scout troop, and even served as PTO president. Her commitment to building a joyful school culture is at the heart of everything she does. In addition to developing a vibrant school culture, Ariel also has supported the school in growing student achievement as instructional coach, resulting in double-digit gains on student test scores on the 2025 statewide assessment. Outside of school, Ariel is a proud mom of 2 elementary-age children and enjoys curating fun, meaningful experiences for her family. She also serves in her church's cafe ministry, is an avid reader, and has recently discovered a love of Peloton rides. I need to do that at some point. I'm on the bike, but I ain't not the Peloton. We'll get to it. Dr. Ryan Sykes is the assistant principal at Carver College Career Academy, and that's in Virginia. With over a decade of experience in Virginia public education, Dr. Sykes has served as a teacher, dean, assistant principal, and principal across several divisions, including Chesapeake, Richmond, and Petersburg and Chesterfield. A proud Virginia State University alumnus and former academic All-American athlete, Dr. Sykes was nationally recognized in 2019 as a Virginia Milken Educator Award recipient for his excellence in leadership. He holds a doctoral degree in educational administration and supervision and is passionate about helping students persevere through challenges to reach their full potential. In 2024, Dr. Sykes founded Pop Scholar Inc., we're going to talk about that, incorporated a nonprofit in Central Virginia dedicated to supporting high school students experiencing homelessness. Dr. Sykes resides in Virginia with his wife and son. You know, Dr. Sykes, with the academic All-American, what was the sport?
Cross country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, cross country.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, y'all, let's jump into it. To the fam out there, hit the share button, hit the retweet button, repost button, tag somebody, text somebody, call somebody, hit the like button. Even if you dislike it, like it anyway. But let folks know we are here, we are live, and we're getting ready to bring it. We're talking meaningful AP leadership, assistant principal leadership. If you're a principal, don't think this is not for you. It's very much for you. It may be even more so for the APs, because as principals, we got to know how to utilize our assistant principals. So, Lauren, let me start with you. I got 3 for you. You've been recognized for your unwarranted commitment to providing student leadership opportunities. And this, when I read that, that's central to who I was as a leader as well. Talk to us about that, student leadership opportunities under your leadership.
Well, firstly, I want to say this. Not everybody feels comfortable in a leadership role. So if my students aren't going to be leaders, I want them to follow greatness. That's something that I tell them all the time. But I want to make sure that the platform is always there for them to be invited up to have a voice and to make positive change in their community. So something that I was blessed to be involved in and have an opportunity extended to me was on a 3-day Leadership Vermont retreat. I started as a teacher taking my students. And on that retreat, students get access to leadership, team building activities, seminars. They conduct a project for the next community day where they look at nonprofit organizations in their community and see how they can make a difference through their lens of what they want to see the change happen. And I decided that when I was a teacher, I wanted leadership for myself, but I didn't want to have to give up that passion when I entered the AP role. And you don't have to. That's the beautiful thing. So anyone looking to go from teacher to administration, you don't have to give who you are up at all. I just made it bigger and more powerful when I moved it with an amazing collective of staff members, the support of my principal. Now we're taking 40 students for my school on that retreat. And I make sure that the criteria is fluid because we know that some of the best leaders are our middle of the road students. So we're going to be going on that retreat in March. But within our school, we also make sure that we lift student mentorship up. I'm blessed to work in a pre-K 8 school. So we have 10 different grades. So that lends itself to opportunity for our older kids to really show up for our younger kids. If we notice that there's an attendance problem, one of my staff members was fantastic in creating breakfast with the bigs. Our bigs meet with our littles. We make sure they want to come to school and that every student has a sense of belonging, but we put the power in the students. If they see a problem, we let our student council really have voice and choice in that. So even in the little ways in our school, all the way up to the big leadership retreat, we make sure we infuse it with opportunities for students to really shine and have something positive to put their energy towards.
I love it. I love it. And I particularly love just the intentionality that goes along with that, which is critical. I want to stay with you. Closely related to leadership opportunities in terms of your work is student voice. And I can remember when student voice wasn't a thing in terms of the language, right? Of course, there were many of us, I'm sure, that understood the significance of student voice, but in terms of the language that we use now, that we have to ensure that students have a voice. And then tied into you, there's an intentionality behind student voice. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. Well, if we want students to feel like they belong at our school, they have to have buy-in. They have to have some stake. They have to see themselves in the school. So we meet with students regularly. Our student council has an administrative meeting, but they're also a part of our SPMT where we plan and meet as a school. So everything as small as like, we need different trash cans in the bathroom for personal use, all the way up to we're an urban school and we need greenery. And now they are being encouraged to talk to the city. And then we get funding and we get donations for beautiful trees in the front of our school. That wasn't me, that was our kids. When you listen to kids, amazing things happen. And if they don't have a platform to talk, you miss out on a whole lot. We want our kids to truly see ourselves and themselves. And when they walk to the entrance of our building, they walk through those trees every day that they put in. They see posters on the walls that they created. They know that if there's flyers for the school dance, that's because they're planning it. We want them to have stake in it because then they care and they want to make sure that they're bringing pride to the school because it's a reflection of them.
So it comes back. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, Yeah, so as that goes, we just fight. We just push through. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying we want the school to be a reflection of them, and that is how we're going to achieve belonging, a feeling of belonging in our students. And when we have the feeling of belonging, everything else falls into place a lot easier. Their willingness to want to learn from us, their willingness to want to build that culture and climate in the school, everything about it changes, it shifts, because it really isn't my school. It's not the principal's school, it's our school. And they need to feel that.
Need to feel it. I love it. Student voice, it matters. It matters. Let me go to Ariel. I want to start, Ariel, with you as math instructional coach. Last Saturday, I devoted 2 hours with Haley Couch, that I know you know from when you received the Milken, and we talked instructional coaching for 2 hours and needed so much more time, right? There's a plethora of factors, as you know, that make up a good instructional coach, right? Although instructional coaching can at the same time be quite challenging. I got a three-parter for you. I might keep it to two and then come back to the third. But first and foremost, what were the ingredients that made you? We're going back before you became AP now. This is you as instructional coach. What were the ingredients that made you an effective instructional math coach?
It's a good question. Well, thank you first for having me on today. It's such an honor. One of the most important things when you are an instructional coach is to establish trust with your teachers that you're coaching, a sense of them understanding that I am not out to get you and we are on the same team. Because oftentimes it can be difficult to receive feedback. And it's difficult to receive feedback from someone that you think perceives you as a bad teacher, or someone who is unplanned, or someone who does not care. And so the first thing is to establish trust, to let the teacher know I am in it with you. And when you win, I win. When the kids win, we all win. And so when you're able to establish that relationship, and it can be something as small as, oh, you told me that your baby was sick and I asked you about how your baby is. So I'm caring about you. I'm prioritizing you as a person. And then I can work with you on your instructional practice when they know that they're people too, and I care about them as people. So that trust is really important. Another thing that I think really matters when you are an effective instructional coach, you got to know the content. And if you don't know the content, you have to be willing to learn the content that you are asking your team to learn. And so I was a first grade and kindergarten math teacher. I know all about developing numeracy in our young learners. I had to learn fifth grade content so that I could coach and support our fifth grade math teacher. And so when they would see that you're in it with me, you're planning with me, you're backwards planning, you're taking the assessment, you're looking for the when they can see the coach doing that work as well, then they know that there's a partnership. And I think the last thing that is when you're giving your feedback, making it bite-sized, chunk the feedback so that they can implement whatever you are trying, whatever you suggest, and they can see, they need the immediate feedback as well. They need to be able to see, okay, I tried this and it worked. And if you're not willing to model, if you're not willing to get in there, roll up your sleeves and work with their students yourself, then you may as well not even try. They want to know that you're going to do the hard work of modeling and showing and teaching and pulling a student. They want to see you in it with them too. So I think those three things, that trust, knowing the teacher as a person, establishing the trust, knowing the content deeply or being willing to learn the content if you don't know it as well as you would like, and then being able to give intentional feedback and meet the chunking the feedback and being able to do the work yourself as well.
I love it. Ariel, how has your background, your experience, your success as a math instructional coach informed your practice as an instructional leader with an emphasis on math?
That's a great question. So my background as an instructional coach in math has helped me in my role as an assistant principal, you have to have a pulse on the instruction. There are vital signs in your school building that you have to have your finger on the pulse of. There are so many things happening in administration. I know that you guys know this, whether it's things happening with your teachers, things happening with the students, things happening in the community, things happening with physical building. And you are responsible. You have to answer to all of that. But what is the most important thing? You still have to have your finger on the pulse of instruction. You need to know what the assessments are. You need to know what the standards are being assessed. You need to know the mastery of students. You need to know what the gap is. And so I think as a math coach, I have been able to still center instruction because I know how important it is that the role of the teacher is so important for so many things. But if we, as a leader, if we don't know what's happening in the classrooms, if we don't know what's happening in the math class, our leadership is not as effective. So I kind of call it still being in the weeds a little bit. I need to be in the weeds. I need to know what the assessments are. I need to know. I can't say, oh, I've got meetings and I have to talk to people at central office. I don't have time. No, I need to make time. I need to know who's getting a 4 on this, who understands powers of 10 in the 5th grade classroom, who doesn't, who understands and who doesn't. And if I don't know who doesn't know it, then I can't ensure that they're getting the intervention they need. So keeping your finger on the pulse is something that I've learned as an instructional coach.
You know, to the three of you, I want you. I failed to say this off camera. Feel free to jump in on each other's comments. If there's something that one of you said that another feels passionate about, I want to weigh in too. The floor is yours, right? I want to weigh in on something you just said, Ariel. And I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't quote it anymore. If one doesn't know the classroom in your capacity of instructional leader, then one may be adversely impacted relative to their own leadership, right? Did I get that right? Not in terms of your wording, but in terms of the theme of it.
Of the heart of it, yes, that's the heart of it.
Yeah. So therefore, I want to put you out there. Talk to the fam out there, particularly those that may be struggling to get into classrooms, those who may not know their classrooms, or those aspiring leaders out there who really don't know what this is yet because they haven't done it yet. What would you expound on that? What are you saying?
Definitely. I struggled with that last year. Last year was my first year as an assistant principal, and I was an instructional coach. So the
hardest year of your life.
I was like, what is going on?
First year as a principal gets harder.
I can't even imagine. It was a hard year. What was the most difficult thing was there's so many responsibilities that you have in administration, deadlines and reports and spreadsheets that I am responsible. It is my job to do. However, it is also my job to coach teachers to ensure that students are getting the best instruction in front of them. And so I had to learn how to protect my calendar. I would block off times that this is the time that I'm in the classroom. It did mean that I had to figure out what balance looked like for me, because in the beginning, I was really the entire year was working constantly around the clock, taking things home, working on weekends. So I'm still figuring out the balance piece. But my time in the building was about classroom time, being with my students, being able to see, I pulled a small group, ensuring that I'm meeting with my students and planning for my students and pushing in, modeling. I had a new teacher on my caseload last year, so doing a lot of team teaching. So I protected my calendar. And I was serious business about my calendar. So every Friday is from 3:30 to 4:30, I put on my calendar Ariel versus Ariel. And I'm making sure that I've calendared out whose classroom I'm going to see, what am I going to be looking for, what method of, and I'm always going to have the instructional coach hat on. So am I going to be scripting questions? Is this teacher working on asking those probing questions? Is this teacher working on ensuring that students have time for discourse? So I'm making sure that even in my calendar, I have what it is that I'm looking for. And I do that every single week in preparation of the next week. I also ensure I calendar time to follow up, because that's the part that it falls apart. I can observe you all day. I can give feedback. But if I didn't follow up, if we didn't go over the data together, then I may as well have not spent the time observing. So I make sure I calendar the time for following up. So if you are a new leader trying to figure out how you can make it happen, how to get in the classrooms, start with your calendar. Be intentional about when you're doing what, and make sure that everything cannot be urgent on that calendar.
Whew, I love that. I want to stay there for a second, and I'm gonna go to Ryan, Dr. Sykes. We use these expressions, and I have about in this book I wrote, The Assistant Principal Identity, and amongst others that I haven't published yet, these protecting, such as protecting your peace, protecting your happiness. And I can go on and on. I came up with about 150. But one that did not show up in that book, but now that you said it, it will show up in the latter one. And I'm old school, y'all. Ain't nothing electronic about my calendar. I'll tell you that. So you can laugh at me all you want.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like this. The way you worded it, protecting my calendar. Look how, I'm doing this because I just want to make the point. I'm safeguarding it. Like you can't get to this, baby, right? I'm protecting it, right? So now you got to go here and ask yourself, are you protecting your calendar? What does your mirror say to you? What message does the mirror send to you about your calendar? Are you protecting it, or are you leaving it unprotected? And now everything that you had in here, you never got to it. See, because you didn't protect it. Ooh, that'll be, because I wrote the Assistant Principal Identity. It didn't make it in there. Then I wrote the Assistant Principal Impact, but I didn't publish it yet. So I can still slide it in, but I didn't write the Assistant Principal Legacy yet. So that might be. Yeah. So let me see what my guy said right here. Yes, create a pattern of behavior to visit classrooms. And this is the one I was looking for. Hefe, where is your AI? I know. I'm behind the times. That's my man, Josh Tovar. I didn't mention our lineup on Saturdays, and I won't do it right now, but I will make sure that on Saturdays and Sundays, but I will get to it. I want to go to Dr. Sykes. You received the Milken Award in 2019 while an assistant principal. I want to set this up this way. The assistant principalship is typically stereotyped into this role of discipline and cafeteria duty and bus duty and other ancillary things that that one might do that doesn't necessarily mirror what a principal would do, theoretically speaking. But somehow, some way, the Milken Family Foundation found you anyway, right? Not to say that that was who you were, but they found you in an assistant principal capacity. So my question to you, you wouldn't know the answer to this. This is a perception question. What is your perception when you think about Dr. Ryan Sykes as assistant principal? What might have been their perception of what might be your perception of who they saw you being as assistant principal that they would bestow such a prestigious award? Did you get all that? Because I know for a second.
Yeah, I think I got all of it. I believe that where I won the award was at Carnegie Woodson Middle School in Hopewell, Virginia. And I was a teacher there for 4 years. So I transitioned to the assistant principalship, and I carried over those same qualities, right? So in the classroom, I care about passing the standards of learning. That's the SOL test, in the state of Virginia. And I care about good grades. I really do. But number one for me, outside of keeping the children safe, my classroom was building those relationships. So when I became an assistant principal, I took that and I carried that and I put that right in my toolbox as well. And, I didn't forget about it. So not only did I continue to build relationships with my students, I developed relationships with my teachers as well. I always had this thing that you got to connect before you correct. So
we're going to fight this thing.
Yeah. So, one thing that I never did as an assistant principal was sit in my office. That's just like a holding tank for, my book bag or whatever, me going to the gym after work. But, I'm out and about, in the hallways, I'm checking passes, I'm asking questions. So, it's just the same energy that I had in the classroom. I was somehow, from looking back on it now, I was able to put that, as an assistant principal. So I think that my teachers, they respected that, and so did the students.
I love it. So I'm gonna stay with you. You developed what is known as the POP mentality, which is a way of living, but also nonprofit organization, a nonprofit organization. I took an excerpt from your website that I wanted to read, and hopefully the Wi-Fi guides will work with me so that I can get through this and we can get through what we're doing. POP means perseverance, opportunity. I should say perseverance plus opportunity plus purpose. Is a mentality that Dr. Sykes has developed, often reflecting on how he has overcome traumatic experiences as an adolescent, such as homelessness, child abuse, and gun violence. He understands persevering through difficult times, though through difficult times is done with discipline and consistency that develops gratitude and a positive mindset. He's a true testimony that by persevering through life's challenges, it will eventually manifest opportunities that will ultimately lead to one's highest form of compensation, finding their purpose in life. I want to read that last line again. It will eventually manifest opportunities that will ultimately lead to one's highest form of compensation, finding their purpose in life. So I got a two-part question. How does the POP mentality, perseverance, opportunity, and purpose, how does the POP mentality inform your practice currently as a school administrator?
Oh man, it's an easy transition. When I think about POP, that's life. And perseverance, opportunity, and purpose. So when I'm in school, when I talk to my students, especially the school where I'm at now, I'm at Carver College and Career Academy. It's an alternative high school in Chesterfield, Virginia. And, I come across students all the time. For example, I have I had a student who the mother passed away right before school started. And, when I get those types of students in my office and when we have those conversations, we're talking about perseverance, opportunity, and purpose. And I let them know everyone in life right now, we're going through something, but it's up to you to persevere through that. Because when you persevere, when you come to school and when you give it your all, and when you meet these expectations and persevere, people are more willing, your teachers, your administrators, they are more willing to give you the opportunity. And with that opportunity, it always leads to your purpose in life. So it's the same thing when you think about, you're trying to pass a test, sure, when you go to class, it may be difficult because you got other things going on at home. But if you persevere through that, opportunities will come from that. And then that's just going to lead to your purpose in life.
Love it. I want to, let me just throw this other part before we get into those talking points. Is there in your mind a correlation between finding one's leadership purpose and school leadership effectiveness?
School leadership purpose, is there a correlation?
Yeah.
I think there is a correlation, because when I think about POP, POP was something that's always been inside of me. And when I think back to when I was in the 6th grade, there was a time where I was living on Decatur Street in Richmond, Virginia, and I had to persevere through a few things. My house was shot up and I was held at gunpoint. But, I still made it, to school because school was a safe haven for me. And this is my first children's book right here. It's called Make It Pop, the story of perseverance, opportunity, and purpose based on true events. And
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Amazing. Congratulations.
And I have this right here in my office. And this is another tool that I use when I have those conversations, because I let them know you're not the only one that's been through these things. Now I'm going to bring this back around and connect it to the leadership piece. And I think because me going through those things and persevering and take advantage of my opportunities and finding my purpose which is to be the best educator I can be and be that impactful educator to hold these students to a high expectation, because I know they can make it because I did. You know, and when I think about me as a leader, perseverance, that right there is something that I can talk about. And when I talk to my students about that, I can give them specific examples and make them believe that if this guy can do it and become Dr. Sykes, so can I. And I believe because of the things that I've been through and the things that I experienced, I'm able to dig deep and find those students and make those students want to come to school and want to be better, because they know there's someone in that building that's just like them, that experience the same traumatic experiences that they have.
Love it.
Principal Kafele, may I say something?
I was getting ready to call on you because I knew you wanted to say something about that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dr. Sykes, that was so inspiring. I really love the idea of helping your students to identify their purpose, to think about purpose. It's an enduring understanding that goes beyond the math classroom. And that's just an amazing opportunity that you have to help your students develop that. Because it's a journey figuring out what your purpose is and following it through. And so it's really beautiful that you will be a pivotal voice that they will remember as they are going through their own lives. But I loved that question that you asked about leadership purpose and how it drives effective leadership. And as you were speaking, Dr. Sykes, it made me think about being crystal clear on your purpose does drive effective leadership, because there are going to be so many things that are vying for your attention. And I think I've said, like, everything feels urgent when you're in the seat of leadership and you're responsible for 300 students. I have a tiny elementary school, so 300 students and 75 staff members. But if I'm crystal clear on my purpose, then I will be able to kind of hear through the noise. I'll be able to determine what is important, what is urgent, what do I need, what needs my answer first, and then it won't take away from what the mission is. And as an assistant principal, my mission is my principal's mission, which I do help to shape, but it's his mission at the end of the day. And I can also help him to determine what's our mission? Where are we going? What is the purpose? What can I handle so that he can drive the ship forward? And there are times where he'll say, you need to drive the ship forward. I'm like, okay, are you sure? But when I think about my purpose, like you said, then I guess it helps me to steer. So thank you for that. That was really inspiring. I'm just taking notes. You guys are really dropping nuggets over here. Really, really. Even Lauren, earlier, something you said, I was like, oh, that was so good. Let me try that down. Good stuff.
Dr. Sykes, obviously, people want the book now. Where can they get it?
Oh, it's on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
So go to Ryan Sykes, Val Foster, and you will see it right there. You see the spelling there. You'll see it right there on Amazon. I'm gonna get my copy too. I wish I had realized that I would have had it on the screen myself today, but we get it. We get it. Let's look at some of those talking points. Let's look at all of them. Let me just get my screen right, and then we jump right into it. Where we at? Here we go. So the way I typically work this, I'll put it on the screen. Some of y'all's were a little longer than the number of characters that StreamYard gives us. So I'll read the rest of it from my notes here so that everybody can hear it. But this was I start with Ariel. Where we at? I went alphabetically by first name. I'm passionate about ensuring, and this is what to the fam out there that may be new. I always ask my guests to send me some one sentence talking points on something they're passionate about, as it relates to the theme of the platform on that day. So today we're talking about meaningful AP leadership, and we're there now. So Ariel said, I'm passionate about ensuring students with disabilities have equitable learning experiences where their needs are planned for, not only when receiving services, but also during tier 1 instruction. So what I want you to do is obviously expound on this, but talk to us about, in addition to that, your commitment to students with disabilities. Like, where is that coming from and the why, specifically within your role of assistant principal today?
So this year, I'm the LEA RD for my school. So I am running the special education department, and I'm brand new to this side of the house. I was a general education teacher in the classroom. And even as a coach, I did work with our special education teachers. But this year I'm learning, or have learned, everything with IDEA. And I ensure that we are following the law and ensuring our students have not just IEPs that are done rightly in terms of compliance, but richly. It's really important that we're looking at standards, looking at gaps, looking at assessments, and determining what it is that our students will need in order to have an equitable experience. So that is the why. It's really, I have had a ball learning and growing and leading in this this side of the house now. And I am very grateful to have learned from some really great special educators and DCPS. One thing that I am going to be on, my principal laughs at me. He's like, okay, here she comes on her soapbox, but we have to make sure that we are planning tier 1 instruction, solid tier 1 instruction. And during the tier 1 instruction, we need to ensure that we've planned the scaffolds. We know the accommodations. We have provided them so that it's not an afterthought. We don't want to rely on our special education resource teachers to do all of the work. We're in partnership. We all have to work together, roll up our sleeves to ensure that our students with disabilities, our most vulnerable students, are getting what they need. So I am so passionate about it right now. It is what keeps me up at night. We have to make sure that we have thought about it. So if I know that I have a student who really struggles with working memory, because I've really been looking at the cognitive evaluations and looking to see, okay, what is it? What is the greatest area of need? Is it working memory? Is it processing speed? And then how can we plan for those specific things? Not even just, okay, we know the reading level, but we also know that this student struggles with working memory. So this student is going to need graphic organizers right here with them. And they're also going to need scaffolding. So it's not just, oh, I gave them the graphic organizer, so now they're able to do the work. No, we have to plan with our teachers, explicit prompts. How are you going to prompt the student to look at their graphic organizer? Are you going to tell them? Are you going to use probing questions? Like, what is your plan for this student? And when you have a teacher that is really, and I'm so grateful to have so many teachers that are able to sit and do that work to determine what are the specific needs of my student, not just in the needs-based small group, but in the whole group lesson. It really does make a difference. That is how you're going to see the gains. That, and when you're pulling them out, then you have your tier 3 interventions. But for inclusion, you have to plan. You have to plan for the specific needs.
You said a lot. You said so much. No. I don't mean that in a bad way. You said so much. It's like I could use that as just a whole conversation, right? Whole topic. Let me delve into some of that with the hope that I don't go too far away, that we don't get to all of what we have on in my notes, right? But I'm thinking, my mind, you got my head all over the place right now, because I'm thinking about the AP or principal who's watching either right now live or will see the recording later, and they're saying, she's doing all that. I have no role in any of what Ariel just said. I'm so inundated with this non-instructional stuff, right? That I'm doing all of this other stuff that I guess it's necessary, whatever the rationale may be. So with that said, because I don't even need you to address that part. Here's what I want you to address. In your assistant principal capacity, what is your relationship to the child study team?
Well, I lead the team. So that is what my job is to do. So I still have the assistant principal roles of observations and evaluations and supporting whatever I'm asked to support. But that is majority of what I'm being crystal clear on your role is so important. This is the most important thing for me this year. And being able to communicate that, having a team that understands that special education is the most important thing to me this year. That is, so I am, I'm leading SPED collaborative meetings with related service providers and resource teachers monthly. I'm checking in weekly with the special education teachers. If I'm not there for a check-in, if I've been called, it happened yesterday. I was called for a parent meeting. A parent was upset. The principal was unavailable. So they had to speak to me, but the teacher was waiting for me at the door. Like, we have a 1 o'clock check-in. We're checking in today. So, these are things, and I have to be consistent. I have to do them. Even if I'm, I don't want to check in right now. I have other things I can do. I need to do that because the consistency is so important. The consistency and the follow through is essential to effective leadership. But it is what my role is, and I've been able to communicate that. And to say, you've asked me to lead special education, so I really need to make this the priority. Everything else I will do, but this special education is the priority for me this year, and it's always going to be about the students.
No.
Is that okay?
Doc, let me set this up real quick.
Okay.
Sykes been chomping at the bit for the past 2 minutes, right? and before you go, because I was getting ready to go to you, but let me just say this. Now, for those of you that didn't hear Dr. Sykes' bio, now he taught special needs, but also when he worked on his doctorate in education administration, he had a concentration in special needs. So I want you to weigh in anyway in terms of what Ariel was saying. So the floor is yours, Doc.
Right. So what we need to understand in education is that when special education wins, everybody wins.
Yes.
I used to say you can't tier 2 and tier 3 your way through good instruction. Your tier 1 instruction is got to be strong. Yep. And a lot of those tier 2 strategies, when you talked about the FAIR model and those graphic organizers, all students need that. So once again, when special education wins, when you implement some of those SDI, specially designed instructional strategies, everyone, they're going to get a slice of that pie. Everyone's going to win, even the students who are labeled as gifted. That also falls under that umbrella. They just learn differently. Yes. So, when you put the focus on special education, you're really putting the focus on just good tier 1 instruction as well.
Absolutely.
I love it.
It's a universal design. Mm-hmm. Everybody wins.
So let me ask the two of you, and Lauren can feel free to jump in if you want. If not, don't feel compelled. Again, there's an AP watching right now, or an AP who will watch later on, and they'll say, I don't have that opportunity that Ariel and Dr. Sykes are talking about. I'm doing this other stuff. What might you say to that person? Let's say that person reached out to you, because a lot of the fam do. When I say fam, I'm talking about the viewers. A lot of the fam, they do reach out to my guests. What would be your advice to that one that says, I want to have a larger role beyond doing the ancillary stuff that's stereotypical? What might you say to that person? Either one of you.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Okay. So my background is not in special education. So when I moved to this AP role, I knew that it was beyond what I was already doing within the walls of my classroom. I knew that it was so important that I needed to read up on it. I needed to embody it for the school. So I just want to say that if you're wondering where to start, one of the best places that I could have started, we have so much human capital in our buildings. I started by talking to my special education teachers. And in addition to going in the classrooms and seeing where the needs were, if you're not in touch with the team and you're not in touch with your teachers and what actually is going on, it's hard to know where to even jump in. So they were a wealth of knowledge to me. I really just took the time to listen to what they were seeing, what their needs were, the teachers' needs when they were, going through a lesson. Is every kid getting the same worksheet? And then we're just doing that? Or, are we then taking a look at, like Dr. Sykes said, that tier 1 instruction that is actually beneficial to every single student in that classroom? So when I was first getting my feet wet, really just the listening piece is a great start.
Yeah, Principal Kafele, I didn't think I understood your question.
Yeah. So in other words, if one of the fam were to reach out to you, mm-hmm. and say, Dr. Sykes, Ariel, Lauren, I want to expand upon my role, but I don't know where to turn. Like I'm not comfortable with going to my principal, whatever. Mm-hmm. what advice do you, let me be that person. So what
Especially,
advice do you have for me? Because I'm listening to you. I'm inspired by you because I'm a full-time disciplinarian. I supervise in the cafeteria. I load buses. I want to be like you. What advice do you have for me that I can function like you do?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for asking for that. Okay, that's helpful. You go ahead, Dr. Sykes.
So, as you said, you put it that way, every time you get a free moment, a 10-minute walkthrough, you could gain a lot of information from that. And in reference to special education, make it intentional that you go into the inclusion classroom or that co-taught classroom and sit down and watch those students in there that that have IEPs, and then there are two teachers. Look at and see how they're working and how they're communicating and how they're co-teaching. And then you can go back and you can look at that classroom data. That'll tell you a lot as well. Whenever you get a moment, you can, as an admin, with your license in the state of Virginia, talk to your principal about sitting in an IEP meeting or sitting into a child find meeting. I don't know a principal that would say no to that. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't mind handing that over and allow you to be in those meetings. You can learn a lot. Listen to the parents speak, and sometimes the students, they're there as well. And you get to have sometimes the occupational therapist is there, the speech pathologist. So, every meeting, every IEP meeting that you can get in, I would say do that because they all look different. So that's one way you can build that capacity.
I love it. Good
the
stuff.
only thing I would add is that when you are in planning, my hope is that you have an opportunity to plan with teachers. And if you are planning with teachers, make that an intentional question that you ask. Well, tell me, how is this going to work for one? Look for your list so you know the students who have an IEP. So hopefully you know the students who have an IEP and you've been able to look over their IEP at a glance. And then you can say, well, how are you supporting so-and-so? Okay, well, what is the goal for this student? So that you are being intentional about ensuring that our students who may be marginal or not thought of or brought up, and you're the one championing and advocating for these students. So ask questions about the specific students you know.
Good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. We bringing that information. Let me go to Lauren on her first talking point. And you indicated, I was able to fit it all in. You indicated school culture and climate. If we foster a positive and inclusive school culture where all members of the school community feel a strong sense of belonging, we will improve chronic absenteeism. I thought I fit it on there. I didn't. Academic outcomes. Let me do that again. If we foster a positive and inclusive school climate where all members of the school community feel a strong sense of belonging, we will improve chronic absenteeism, academic outcomes, behavior, and the overall culture and climate of the building for all members of the learning community. As you expound on what you're saying to us, Lauren, give us a sense of who you are as assistant principal within that entire process that you outlined here.
Yeah, I think as an AP, I work really hard to be collaborative and really hard to listen and make sure that everyone feels a part of the fabric of our community. I feel that sense of belonging, whether it's for a student, for a staff member, for our families, for our community partners, everyone should feel like they have a role at the table. And I think that that sense of belonging is something I try to foster as an AP. The check-ins, my tone in the morning, how I start the day with everybody, making sure that I'm at the very least, checking in on these classrooms and saying good morning and seeing what the tone of the building is. Saying good morning to our families, standing outside, much like you did, Principal Kafele, every day, looking into their eyes, getting the pulse, making sure that I really know what the day is going to be like for my people, for all my people in our community. So that just being observant, that listening piece is so huge because it leads to everything else. If I don't know a student's name or I haven't even said good morning to them, why are they going to show up or feel like, I have a purpose at this school. They need to know that I know their name. I know their name and I know what they like to eat for lunch. And I notice when they're not there and I miss them when they're not there. And so that, I mean, there's a lot of things woven into that, but I really do feel like the foundational piece of me just, I mean, seeing them as people, seeing everybody in our community as a person, a human, that is the foundational piece to everything else. I think when you look at things like an attendance committee, by the time I'm making phone calls to report about chronic absenteeism, well, now I'm just band-aiding a problem. And I can make those phone calls. I'm happy to do so, happy to send out letters, all of it. But I think that if we've gotten to that point, there's already a problem that we're not addressing. So when I was speaking earlier about student voice and choice, yeah, our kids have a say in so much. They're a part of my morning announcements every morning. I check in with them. Every day they get to tell me a different staff member they'd go to if they ever needed help. We just constantly try to build the relationships in different ways. And I think that we've been very successful in doing that. We just found out that our accountability, our next generation accountability index, we rose 7.9 points and the most in our district. And that's a collective of like 12 different areas. And I think it's because our kids are just excited to be at school. We invest in our teachers who invest in our kids. And it's a constant flow of energy like that. So we hope that for our teachers, for all of our staff members, we have a decent attendance rate, not a decent absenteeism rate, but a decent attendance rate. And I think everybody showing up is a sign that we're alive, we're thriving, we're on our way to our goals.
Lauren, let me ask you. There's a quote that I guess I created it for a workshop a long time ago, and I use it all the time. I say the culture and the climate of a school are a direct reflection of the leadership of that building. My question to you is two-part: agree or disagree, and why?
I feel like I agree, but I feel like we reflect each other. When I took the role at my current school, I walked into a school that had already done so much work to become a magnet school. So I had to really respect that what I was walking into, they didn't need someone who was going to necessarily like make huge changes, iron fist things. Like I just needed to be the observer. And so many of our staff members and our students and our families light me up every day. Like I smile just thinking about it. And I almost think it's like a cycle. Like just the other day, someone saw me standing and trying to eat at the same time and was like, I think you should take this opportunity to sit. I've got this. And even though I didn't, it was like, we have a culture in our school of people who notice things about everybody. And I think that's a beautiful thing to be proud of.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, and anybody else want to weigh in? If not, I'm gonna move on.
I just want to add something about the culture and climate, and it's like, fostering a positive and inclusive culture. The year 2018, that's the year before I went to Milken, I helped pilot a program with Principal Worcester at College of Wisdom Middle School in Hopewell, and it was called Advisory, and it focused on building positive relationships first thing in the morning. And in advisory, we had this thing called CPR, which is the circle of power and respect. And every morning, kids, they would get in a circle, and the Promethean board would be, somewhere where everyone could see. And, it always started off with a good morning. And we're sitting in a circle. You had to turn to the left, and you had to greet, that student beside you and say their name. And, you had to say good morning, look them in the eye and make that contact. Just created that sense of belonging before we even got into academics. And that's just great. That was a great way just to put building positive relationships first and creating a sense of belonging for every student.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Saying a student's name is so powerful.
Yeah.
We stand outside to greet our students every morning, rain or shine. Sometimes in the rain, I'm like, oh, I'll go out there. But and I remember it was the first week of school, and I said, "Oh, good morning" to the little girl, and the parent said, "You know her name?" The parent was so like shocked, but also felt so grateful that we knew her baby's name. Like these are people's babies that we get to take every day, and saying their name is so powerful. I love that.
It's a powerful thing. You know, a lot of young people, and this is me now in an AP or principal capacity, and just so shocked that I remembered their name, you know, from an initial conversation. They didn't know I studied the yearbook from the classes that were there the year before and all that kind of stuff. But then just being conscious of the fact that you said my name, now let me your name, let me now lock it in. So when I say it back to them later, it's like, wow, you know my name? Yeah, I know your name. I'm gonna know you as long as you're here now too. Yeah, so that meant a lot, and it spoke volumes about the overall climate culture of the building. That you got adults in the building who can call people by their name as opposed to hello, sir, hello, young lady, and all that kind of stuff. You know, I got away from that. I wanted to call you by your name. Sometimes I give you a title, like I might call you doctor, right, along with your last name or your first name, as we do in these days. But yeah, that's where it was. Let me go. Number 3 here is Dr. Sykes, and he said, and I'll read. I know what happened when I printed this at the hotel here. It took away some notes I had, which is why I didn't realize everything's not on the screen. I'm deeply passionate about building authentic relationships with students, as I believe a sense of belonging is the essential foundation that allows every child to take the risk necessary for academic and personal growth. What are you saying to us?
Man, I'm saying that we want our students to do well academically. We do. I know I do. But we really have to focus on what the student cares about too. For example, you know, showing up to sporting events. Mm-hmm. You know, that doesn't have a lot to do with academics, but let me tell you, the next day that they see you in school, the energy that they bring to you because you were there, that's just energy that's going to transition to the classroom. And then next thing you know, they come to school more, you know, higher test scores, they're turning in their homework. So, you know, when you build those authentic relationships, you know, you got to understand it got to extend far beyond the classroom. You know, I want to know your dog at the house, how your dog doing, how your mom's doing. You know, you got a game tomorrow. I'm going to that. Hey, if you need anything, you can always come talk to me. You know, it's easy for me to go on the platform that we use in Chesterfield and look at your grades and see how you're doing there. But, you know, there's some things, you know, in those systems that we can't find unless we actually talk to our students and build those authentic relationships. You got to be transparent. You know, sometimes you may have to dig back into, well, at least I do anyway. You know, I go back into my past and I bring some things out, you know, to let the student know that, hey, I understand what you just said. You know, for example, I was talking to a student in my office one time, and I was telling him how, you know, if I wasn't living in the hotel, I was always staying with someone else, and I had to make a pallet. He said, Dr. Sykes, a pallet? What you know about a pallet? I said, well, you got to get covers together and put them on the floor to make, you know, the floor feel a little bit better when you go to sleep at night. And then when you get up, you just roll it up, put it in the closet, and you take care of business. So, you know, that was the majority of my childhood, you know, sleeping on the floors, making a pallet. So he was so surprised that I knew what a pallet was, you know, because oftentimes our students, they buy with their eyes. So you see you walk around with a shirt and tie on, and they're like, man, he don't understand. I ain't had nothing to eat last night. He'll never understand me. And that ain't quite so, young brother. So just come and let's have that conversation and build that authentic relationship.
Yeah. Wow, that's a powerful story in and of itself, right? You know, with the whole idea of feeling welcome and belonging, I think about, and I've said this on this platform several times, I'm a 65-year-old man who has been public speaking for 40 years and delivered well over 3,000 presentations. However, I'm going to be most effective when the client and maybe even the audience understand that if I'm made to feel welcome in that space, I'm talking keynote space now, not workshops, that I feel welcome there, that I belong there, they're going to get a better me than if they usher me in and hook up my computer and I don't get to have any conversation with anybody in an informal way. Then they're probably not going to get my best, right? Because emotionally, I'm not attached to the room, right? So I've thought about that over the years as it relates to school, and not only children, but staff. Do staff feel an emotional relationship to the building, to the people in the building? Do children feel an emotional relationship to the building, to the people in the building? My question, like way off script, but connected to Dr. Sykes's bullet point. What are your thoughts around I want to go to staff, around staff feeling that connection to the building under your leadership, although you're not principals? Have you given that? I know I'm putting you on the spot with this one, but but not in a bad way. But have you given that thought in terms of just teachers feeling like I'm home here? I feel at peace here. But there's something they may not have ever articulated, but you just know it, you just sense it. And there's something about this collegial relationship that I have with the three of you. What are your thoughts?
Earlier when AP Lauren was speaking, I don't want to misspeak your last name. So AP Lauren, if that's okay, was speaking. You talked about this energy, this flow of energy. And I wrote down this note that school leaders, we set the thermostat. We determine the temperature of our building. Our students feel it, but our staff, they certainly feel it. And it is important that we set the tone for them too. This is their first time in whatever age that they are in with this specific class, and you do not know what people go home to. You do not know whether or not they, what they experience in the morning. You don't know what they have in their bank account. You don't know, if they have a sick loved one. And we know that the work that they're doing is hard work. It is hard work. And so we have to set the tone as the school leader. And we have to ensure that the teachers, feel the warmth from us as well, that we believe in them just like we believe in our students. That is the thing that I did not realize was essential to effective leadership. It surprised me because I've been in my same building for 14 years. And there was this unspoken now expectation that and they've seen me grow up. I started at 21. And so they've seen me grow up and get married and have my children and grow in leadership. But there became this point, this line that I crossed when it's like, you're the grown up now. And so, whatever I bring as the teacher, I need your help with, and help me to navigate it. And so it's my responsibility to set the tone. Good morning. How are you? And then pull them to the side. Hey, I know your mom is not feeling well. Is there something I can do? And so, and it's beyond, it's something I can do. It's, I sent you a DoorDash gift card. I don't want you to worry about dinner tonight. Or, hey, you told me that your daughter loves, whatever it is that she loves. I don't know, Paw Patrol. I have some extra Paw Patrol toys that my son's not playing anymore. I brought them for you. I care about you as a person. I care about you outside the classroom, just like I care about my students. Those really small connections. My love language was giving gifts, so that's the way that I show that. But those small connections, being intentional, it matters for teachers, and it helps them to feel like they belong because there's somewhere looking for them. So instead of, hey, I saw you called out, I'm just checking on you. Are you okay? Not like, are you coming back to cover this class, but are you okay? Is there something I can do? Those things matter. And then I think one more thing in terms of supporting your teachers and setting the tone as a staff member, communicating like those high expectations, and the best way to do that is to be clear. I think clear is kind. So these are the things that I'm looking for. It's never a get you, got you, but this is what I'm looking for my students. And now this is what I need you to do in order to do that. How can I support you with that? So I can be kind, and, I can care about you as a person. I'm also crystal clear about what the expectations are for our students, and I'm here to help you with that. So what can I do? I think not having ambiguity in what I'm looking for, what the expectations are, is a gift to the team.
So then I want to stay with you, and then I even got you talking your next one coming up. But let me stay with you, Ariel, and anybody can jump in on here. You and I both have heard teachers say in outside of your school, outside of my school, just in the world, that communication is so lax here. Communication is not clear here. We don't know what's going on. We're on a platform this morning. We're not a show. I told you that off camera. We're an academy. Talk to someone out there that may be in that situation. We don't know who it is. Just speak in general terms, that maybe you need to be a little more clear, clarifying the things that you're communicating from administration to staff to increase the probability that we are in fact on the same page, because that narrative is out there. We hear it. And with me being, to travel the way that I do as a speaker, I really get to hear it. What are your thoughts, Ariel, and anybody else can jump in?
In education, we are building a plane while we fly it, because things change day to day. That is something that I think operating with grace, extending grace, being upfront about it. Like, this is what the district is saying. The district may change their idea 2 weeks from now. I'm a company man. I'm going to follow. We're going to do what we think is best for students. I need your grace with this. So being clear like that's upfront. And then whenever I share something in a conversation, I always follow up in email. And it's not a paper trail. Teachers hate that. They're like, oh, you're trying to have a paper trail. No, this is because I talk to 72 adults every single day and 300 students. I will forget what I told you. I could have said the sky's blue. I walk away thinking, did I say the sky was purple? So I'm going to go and write everything out that I said so that it's stamped it, so that it reminds you and it reminds me. That has been saving grace for me, to the point where people will print out my emails and say, okay, I see you color coded and you had this link and it's bold print. And I don't want anybody to be afraid but I will say, can you refer to the email? I will say that because I took the time to say it, then I took the time to type it. And now I'm going to put the onus on you to go back and read what I said. And also I probably forgot what I said. So you go back and read it. So try that. Try to make sure that anything you say to somebody you've spoken to, go back and write it out, send an email just to clarify and stamp it. But we also have to be clear in how we communicate, with the idea that in education, things are always changing.
Always changing. Anybody else?
And also to add to that, to be sure, I think there's a correlation between administrators that are not visible and that comment that you said, Principal Kafele, like, man, the communication isn't clear, he or she doesn't communicate. I think there's a correlation between that and, the principal not being visible, the AP not being visible. So, if you're in the hallways and if you're in those PLC meetings and if you're in those grade level meetings, if you're in those content meetings, teachers, they'll ask those questions right then and there. Sometimes sending an email is nice and you should send emails, but, a lot of times people, tend to glance over emails and then go to the next one. But when you're in that PLC meeting, you making that eye contact, and when you're taking notes and they're taking notes, right? And when you're at the staff faculty meeting, just being visible. Sometimes when I get a moment in my building, I walk around to my classrooms and I ask my teachers, hey, do you have to use a bathroom? Oh, yes. You see, because I'm showing them that, I remember how it was being a teacher. Mm-hmm. You got a classroom full of youngsters and you need to use a restroom and you can't leave them. Yep. It's like number one rule, never leave your students unattended. So, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I got 5 minutes. Let me go hit a few classrooms up to see if they need to take a water break or a restroom break or whatever the case may be. So when you're visible, oftentimes, that communication piece, that also get attacked as well.
Oh, and when you do that, carry some extra dry erase markers in your pocket or pencils. That makes a teacher's day. I got a pencil for you. Got a fresh pack of pencils.
That's good. All right, let's go. Next one. Where are we at? This is number 4. This is Ariel. You talked about backward planning. is essential for student achievement and must be an intentional process. And once again, I'm asking you to expound, and I'm particularly curious about what this looks like within your own capacity of assistant principal.
Okay. Last year, as an instructional coach and assistant principal, every single week I would meet with teachers on my team, and we're looking at, we used Eureka Math last year as our math curriculum. And we're looking at what is the standard that we're teaching our students? What do we want students to know and be able to do by the time that they've learned this lesson? And what does it look like on this assessment? And we're looking at an exit ticket, but we're also going to look at an end of module assessment. And then we're going to look at how the standard shows up on a statewide assessment item. And so we've gone through the process of looking at the standard, breaking down the standard, understanding what the students are going to see in the standard. Uh-oh, did we lose?
No, I'm here. Keep going.
Okay. Oh, no.
I ain't going nowhere. Keep going.
So ensuring that teachers really understand what it is that they're teaching, and then how is it showing up for students. Backwards planning, looking at the assessments, taking the assessments, determining what the student's misconception might be, and then planning for those misconceptions. And then not just your students broadly, but students that you know, like, okay, Ariel, Ryan, Lauren, what is Lauren going to need? What is Ariel going to need? What is Ryan going to need? And what is the scaffold that we can provide, not just for Ariel because she has this need, but that will benefit all students. And we know that Ariel needs a calculator, so let's make sure that she has that available to her. So whatever it is, planning and being intentional, not just by your students in buckets, but your students by name. So that was a process that we did. Have you all worked with your teachers on backwards planning?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Backwards design.
Yeah, backwards design.
Yeah, taking a big unit and then breaking it down to.
And breaking it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's fun. We all have different names. It's all the same thing, but different names and different
parts. Different stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you all have the opportunity to plan with your teachers?
We have, so we're doing this thing called, we're following the DataWise protocol. So we have grade level meetings every Wednesday, and we have the chance to gather as a grade level team. And that's when they really go over the data that comes out of the backwards planning that helps them make the next steps.
Oh, that's great.
So we do have, that is a gift on Wednesdays, that we have that carved out time together.
Oh, wow. And do your instructional coaches lead the work? Do you all have instructional coaches in your buildings?
We do. We have phenomenal instructional coaches who really have spearheaded the DataWise process for our teachers and have made themselves available, not just to start it, but to then support them along the way, which has been just a fantastic journey to watch and be a part of.
Good stuff. And I appreciate y'all holding it down for me. Yeah. Anything else to add to that before we move on? You guys, all of you chimed in, so I appreciate that. Let's go. Lauren, you said teaching and learning. If we personalize learning experiences tailored to every student's needs through the use of multiple data points while supporting staff through the process, we will positively impact student outcomes. I want to read that again only because we don't have it all on the screen for the benefit of the auditory folks. Again, teaching and learning, if we personalize learning experiences tailored to every student's needs through the use of multiple data points while supporting staff through the process, we will positively impact student outcomes. And I should have said for the benefit of the visual folks that don't have the full visual. Like I said with one of the previous ones, Lauren, that's an entire seminar there. There's a lot there. We could spend 2 hours just kind of unpacking that. But again, as I keep saying, expound on all of that, but put yourself in it as well, or just the generic assistant principal toward personalizing learning.
Okay, so I see this as kind of two separate things. One is the actual rollout of the lesson and how that's going to look in the classroom for every student. And the other part is the data that we get from that and then what we do with it to help benefit the students. So starting with just the rollout and making it personalized for students, I think we know that students learn best when the learning is authentic to them and their interests. I believe in the collective efficacy of the entire community. We've been blessed to pull in one of our community partners who's been working with our teachers to make sure that they have that they're actually walking through the steps of play-based learning and place-based learning so that we're also getting to know the community of where we're teaching really intimately. We're going to the places, the art galleries, and not only that, but nature. The Mill River runs right behind our school, and what environmentally that has to bring to us. I think there's deep learning that could be done with that. Our fifth graders are taking water samples and deciding what that says about our community from that in science. It flips the curriculum a little. So instead of just we're learning about water in a book, our kids are going out into the field and they're having that place-based learning. But I think it's one of those things where it's a lot of work to get going, but then once it's going, oh my gosh, what an investment, because the kids are really taking charge of the rest of that. But I do think it sounds like a lot to ask of teachers at first. So as an AP or administrator, to have them be able to work with a community partner that's also going to check in on them regularly, they can ask questions with, that's setting them up for success. We're not just asking them to do a big thing and then being like, okay, I asked you to do that big thing. Where's that big thing? It's no, we're going to talk about this big thing. We're going to go on a field trip as staff. We're going to live it so that we know how our students feel about it. So when our students are connected in that way to their community, which reflects them, they care more about the learning that's happening. So that's more about what we've been doing to try and boost our teaching and learning and make that more personalized for our students. But then within that, there's standards that students have to be meeting. And our teachers, we have less than 7 hours a day with our kids. They're the ones that, even if I'm stopping in, I'm doing observations, I'm saying hello, I'm celebrating a lesson, that our teachers are the ones that are on the front lines the most. And so they are such a powerful resource when we're looking at, sometimes as educators, we're so quick to get data back and be like, oh, well, this means that, or our kids bombed this, so they must have missed this concept. But then let's say they get the concept, but maybe they're ML students and maybe they didn't have the vocabulary. Maybe they need to work on oral language and practicing with one another. There's all these nuances to data, and our teachers, I really believe, have the key to the things that we're missing in between the numbers. So we've adopted the data-wise process as a district, but we've really honed in on it as a school. And we take the time every Wednesday. I kind of was teasing that a little bit before talking about it, but we take the time on Wednesdays, led by our instructional coaches, but really not led so much as we are a collective. We're this grade level and group of educators that are here to look at all these different data points. And we look at data points that, like, we could look at 20 things, whether we think it's necessarily relevant or not. And it tells a story that we may not have seen. And we try to stay very low on the ladder of inference and really look at every kid. And we've had so many, we've caught ourselves in some pretty deep misconceptions where we would have jumped ahead and put all in and resources into something that may not have been what our kids needed at all. The last cycle around, we found that oral language was a huge part of it, and they just needed more time to not be lectured to. They needed time to talk to each other and make sense of it. And I think we would have missed that in certain grades had we not taken the time to do that process. But also we needed the teacher's input. It couldn't have been me saying, as an administrator, you have to do this because I said so. They came up with that they're the experts in meeting with the kids every day. And I think it's empowering for our teachers to know that we have trust in them to see these things. And they really benefited our kids in the long run. Sometimes they have the view that we don't see. So we have to look at inwards, and trust is huge. It's a huge part of it.
Huge part. I want to ask you, because I'm listening to all you said and with the detail that you provided. When you were on the come up, meaning when you were in the classroom, Lauren, and you were working toward this goal, this vision of becoming an administrator, did you conceptualize in your assistant principal capacity, not what you will do later as principal, but as assistant principal, did you conceptualize that you would be able to function the way you're functioning now when you were in grad school, or even before or after, before you became AP?
I didn't necessarily believe it for myself, but I had a lot of other people who believed it for me before I did. And I think that's something that as administrators, sometimes our teachers don't see how incredible they are or the magic that they do every single day. And I have been like beyond blessed with multiple administrators who gave me opportunities that I didn't think I was ready for, but then I took them on, and then turns out I was ready for them. So I think within building opportunities for our kids, we also have to build opportunities for our teachers too.
Yeah, good stuff. Because as I've said multiple times on this platform, I just didn't have that kind of exposure as an AP. My exposure was limited to the stereotypes, right? So listening to you in that capacity, you're doing something that wasn't, as I listen to the three of you, but particularly what I just heard in this segment, that just wasn't my world. And I don't think anybody necessarily went in thinking it would be their world where I was working in a highly urban area. We're dealing with this other roll up the sleeve stuff, right? Where you seem to be very much immersed into the academic, the emotional, the social, the emotional aspects of children's lives, and obviously the pedagogical life of the classroom teacher. So that's a good thing. And I hope that, listening to the three of you is inspiring others who may find themselves as doing what I did as an AP, as opposed to what the three of you are doing as AP at whatever level, elementary, middle, or high school. Good stuff. Let me go on to Dr. Sykes, and let me put it on the screen. Number 6. And you said on teacher support, I'm committed to being a steadfast advocate for my teachers, ensuring they feel empowered through consistent professional support, active listening, and the resources they need to thrive in the classroom. Again, as I keep saying, talk to us, expound on it for us, but also let us know who you are as AP within it all.
So, in reference to, being the advocate for teachers and just being committed to them and supporting them, let me give you an example. I have to do 2 formal observations every year, which is anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes, right? And I usually conduct those between, the first semester and the second semester. So, but to let the teachers know that I'm on their side, the first one, we always have a pre-conference. I always allow them to tell me when they want me to come see them, what period, what class, So when you do that, you letting the teachers know that I want to see your very best, because I want to coach you through your very best. That's going to take you to even newer heights. And when you think about active listening, and just being there for your teacher to support them, for example, whenever you do a walkthrough is no longer than 15 minutes. And you won't always catch your teachers at their best moment within those 10 to 15 minutes. So, when you have that post-conference, you tell them, look, I know out of 90 minutes, I only saw, 10, 12%. But here's how we can move forward. And here's where I need you to start doing, within the event the next time I come to observe you. So, you basically, you're holding to a high standard, but you're also letting them know that, look, we're all human here. And I know I only just saw 10 minutes of this walkthrough, and I'm not going to, bear it down on you because it wasn't perfect or whatever the case may be.
I love it. You made me smile. I thought about sometimes somebody important might walk through my classroom, the superintendent. This when I was a teacher, and I already did the good stuff, right? So now superintendent walks in, assistant superintendent. Now I got to recreate that. Kids looking at me like I'm out of my mind, and but I got to recreate that because important people have walked through now, and I want them to see what I did 10 minutes ago. So no, I fully relate to that, and it resonates with me. Anybody else want to jump in on that one?
I do, because both of you, AP Lauren and Dr. Sykes, said some really great things about like trusting the teacher. And I think there's this narrative that we in administration, the powers that be, do not believe in teachers, and we don't center or prioritize the wellness of teachers. And so I think it is important for us to communicate that we will advocate for you. We will be your champion. We trust you. We trust in your expertise. And if we communicate to our teachers and to our community that the teachers are the experts, they will feel empowered to continue to pursue professional learning, to continue to take initiative, to grow their practice. So it's important to advocate for them and to believe in them, because I remember when I had to borrow my belief in myself from my principal, and I could give it back because now I have my own belief for myself. And so I want to be that way for the teachers. I will believe in you so much that you can borrow my belief until you believe in yourself. And who wins at the end of that? The students. The students will always win. When teachers are their very best, then students receive the best instruction in front of them. And that's what I'm about, so, and that's what we're all about. So I think that you both made some really good points on really just trusting your teachers and advocating for them and then communicating it to them. It's really important.
And on one more thing, Principal Kafele, I don't want to shy away from this, but in our roles, we also deal with discipline, right? Yep. So, when I think about supporting teachers, one thing I do, when they write a referral, I support them on that, and if there's ever a parent that wants to, come in with a kind of energy that's going to belittle them, because, we always want our teachers to stay professional. Yes. I tell my teachers all the time, don't take that, just direct that phone call to me and not take it from there, because I don't allow, even in meetings, if the parent, if their language is getting a little out of control, I stop the meeting right then and there to protect my teachers and let them know I support you not only in the PLC and the grade level meeting, but I support you when we have an irate parent as well, who's in the wrong, so, just always being there on the front line with my teachers, when it comes to discipline as well, and dealing with, certain behaviors from our certain students and parents.
I love it. Ariel, you said, I like how you worded that. Sometimes you borrow from the administrator their belief in you, and now you're in a point where you can give it back to them. Talk to us about you in that role with a teacher, where they may have to borrow from you your belief in them that they may not necessarily have in themselves at this time, to the extent that they can now give it back to you.
It takes that enduring, it takes and perseverance really with the person to say, I'm not going to become impatient. I'm thinking of someone who is a phenomenal teacher. She does not know it. And I wish that I could be a mirror for her just so she can see. So I really try to ensure that I'm saying, I noticed you're working on asking probing questions. You asked 8 questions. 7 of those questions were how questions. That was amazing. Out of the 30-minute lesson that I was in here, 26 of those minutes, the students were talking and engaged in the task. So I'm really giving intentional coaching, being very intentional about saying, oh, I was looking on your tracker and I saw that whoa, you had 12 students with 4s. That was amazing. How did that happen? Tell me what you did for that. And giving them the opportunity to really share what their process is, because it's important that they feel so much planning happens outside of the building. It's happening on Saturdays. There's a teacher planning right now, acknowledging that, saying, I know that you went above and beyond to grow in this area. So I see it. I'm going to speak about it and I'll follow up. How else can I help you? When you talked about behavior, a lot of times teachers may feel like, I don't know how to address this behavior. And so you're borrowing I believe in you to do right by students, but that also looks like me standing beside you and saying, okay, these are the steps that we will take to ensure this student. Why don't you tap out and I teach this lesson? Take a minute, get yourself together, take a deep breath, because he almost took you there. I'll finish the lesson for you. And that communicates that I believe in you so much that I know that you're not at your best, but that's not a reflection of who you are. So that those, I think, are things. And then, of course, just being a person of faith, praying. I pray over my teachers, like I pray over my students, like I pray over my babies at home. So, those are my people. And I want to pray for them that they will be able to have eyes to see the good work that they're doing. So I can say that through affirmation. I can say that through being in the classroom with them, but I'm also speaking and praying over them as well.
Powerful. Let's go. We got one more round. Between the three of you, and this is Ariel, so we stay with you. You indicated when you have a demographic with an inverted triangle, majority of students are below grade level. The school schedule must prioritize quality tier 1 instruction and needs-based small groups intervention. In other words, ensuring pullouts do not happen during tier 1 instruction. Rather, they need to be scheduled during the needs-based small group time. So once again, I want you to expound on that, because there's a lot there. That's a whole seminar. And then obviously, as I've been saying throughout the session, I'm curious about your role within all this, given our topic of meaningful AP leadership.
As an assistant principal, I've had a great opportunity to work really closely. We have a director of strategy and logistics who is amazing. And she really runs operations so well. She built the schedule, but I was able to work side by side with her over the summer to ensure, and my principal too, we work as a team, a great team, where we're able to look at the schedule and say, okay, this is the time that this class is having their 60-minute whole group lesson. This is the time where this class is having their needs-based small group time. So it's built into the schedule. It's prioritized. So let's ensure that we're communicating to the resource teachers, this is the time that they're pulling their students, so that their students who are receiving resource or receiving intervention are not receiving it during their tier 1 instruction. Building your schedule is so important. And like I said, there's so many things that can come vie for your attention as an assistant principal, and what you've set at the beginning of the summer, at the beginning of the year, or over the summer for your schedule, it's still your responsibility to check the pulse. You have to check those vital signs throughout the school year. So I talked to the ESOL teachers, and I know that they're supposed to be pushing it at this time, but it's my responsibility to do a walkthrough and ensure that it's still happening. Or I know that we have this interventionist and she's pulling students, but I notice she's picking them up now during their close read. So students are missing their close read or their science time. Let's check in. Let's find out why this decision was made, and let's see how we can get back on track, because things happen. So the schedule is so important. At the end of the day, it has to prioritize. Your schedule has to prioritize instruction. So really being a part of designing intervention groups, knowing where every kid goes, because we've done these backwards planning meetings, these data meetings. We know where all of our students are. We know what the gaps are. We know what intervention they're receiving. If you are working on short E, you're going over here. And I know you're going to have short E in 6 weeks. We're checking, did they learn short E? Fantastic. What are we working on now? Oh, my baby's here. They're struggling with in fact, inflectional endings. So let's make sure that we have a new needs-based small group that is focused on this very clear, discrete goal, and they're receiving intervention, and then we'll check back in 6 weeks for progress monitoring. But the schedule is prioritized around ensuring that they're able to get tier 1, and then they get their intervention. Like you said, Dr. Sykes, you cannot tier 3 your way out of a tier 1 problem. So we try to ensure that it's all happening, because it's all necessary. And it is your role as the AP, as the instructional leader, to ensure that it's happening.
What if the instructional leader, for whatever the reason, is not making sure it's happening?
Okay. Look at your schedule. Look at your calendar. When can you? When can you go and check in on the classroom? Do you know where your schedule is for the building? Do you know where the information is? Did the director of strategy and logistics create it? Did you support with it? If you didn't, it's okay. Ask them for it. Where's the schedule? Do I know Miss Lauren's schedule? Do I know Principal Kafele? Whose schedules do I not know? Let me make sure that I know who is supposed to be where. Let me make sure that I've done a walkthrough to ensure everybody's where they're supposed to be. There actually have been times where I've had to, in a gentle but firm way, say, hey, I noticed you're supposed to be pulling Michael and Matthew right now, but they're in their classroom. What's going on? Oh, okay. And the teacher will share. I'm like, all right, cool. That's fine. Let's make sure that we've communicated that with the teachers because they didn't know where they were. And these students, they were expecting them to be able to receive. And that's a difficult, uncomfortable conversation to have. But that is, so if you don't know, it's okay if you're not doing something right now. Do the next right thing. You know, you can always reset, always get back on track.
Yeah, and that's where the communication piece comes in as well. And when I read number 7, I'm looking at the inverted triangle, right? And is it okay if I were to pause for a moment and within the scheduling find some time? Because if we have a problem, if we have inverted triangle and majority of the students are below grade level, I would like to look at my teachers, see how they're performing. Mm-hmm. You know, I like to get my teachers who are not so strong in that tier 1 instruction. Let's create a schedule where maybe we can get a sub to come in for a day and have that teacher to go see another teacher within that building who does have that good opening, good warm up, that I do, we do, you do, that good tier 1 instruction that we all like to see. So that way I think within that schedule, I would try to build a schedule to build the capacity of my teachers and they're delivering tier 1 instruction. I'm not sure if that makes any sense.
No, it does. We have a practice that we're implementing right now called instructional rounds, where our teachers are they are in groups and they're going to, every teacher in the building is getting touched. Every teacher in the building is being observed by their peers and they're receiving feedback using, we've pared down what our evaluation rubric looks like in a way that teachers are able to ingest and share their feedback. And it has been so powerful for the pre-K teacher to go see what's happening in the 5th grade classroom, in order to improve. And everybody can improve. Everybody can grow. I have dynamic teachers. And so they're able to all give great feedback. However, a lot of this, we have a transit community where our students, they'll come, they'll stay, they leave. We have, I'm in DCPS, DC Public Schools. And so it's an urban district. So the reality is we do have students who come to us who are below grade level, but you're right. In building the capacity of teachers does make a difference. You're absolutely right about that.
Lauren, I don't want to leave you out before we go. Any thoughts on that? Don't feel compelled.
I was just thinking about what Ariel was saying about teachers being able to see other teachers too. I think that that's one of the best parts of the data-wise process that we're running, is that we carve out a schedule for teachers to see each other. In a pre-K-8 school, you only have so many of each grade. So sometimes our teachers feel like they're in a silo. But you can still show them like concepts, right? Like, well, I have a teacher who may not be the exact same 8th grade social studies teacher because you may be the only one in the building, but here's a teacher who's going to show you amazing small group instruction. I think that working within ourselves and also lighting up a teacher who does a really great job at something and having someone come in and showcase, get to see that is a really great way to really highlight teachers and the work they do, and also share the talent that is within the walls of the building.
Good stuff. I'm gonna stay with you, Lauren.
Sure.
You indicated that community partnerships, if we commit to welcoming and if we commit to welcoming and personal connections with our families and local community partners, student access to beneficial and positive opportunities for experience and learning will increase. So as I keep saying, and I'll keep saying until we get to the end, expound on it, but put the AP in it. She might be frozen. It'll unfreeze in a second. Yeah, she's frozen.
She's smiling. That was a nice way.
Yeah, it worked out. A good picture. Lauren, you might need to go out and come back in because that's been a while. If assuming you hear me, yeah, go, Lauren. If you hear me, go out and come back in. There she is. Yeah. She's partially there. If you hear me, go out and come back in. Yeah, okay, that ought to work. Fam out there, bear with us for a second. I'm out in San Juan, so I don't have the same connection that I normally would have. She's coming back. I think I'm gonna go to Dr. Sykes on this last one, and then we'll come back to Lauren. Let's go. You indicated on parent partnerships. You said you're a firm believer in the triangle of success between the school, the student, and the home, which is why you prioritize proactive parental contact to ensure we are working in total alignment for the betterment of the child. So again, expound on that and put the AP right there at the heart of everything you're saying.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Yeah, as the assistant principal, you always tell your teachers, make sure you reach out to the parent, make sure you call the parent, make that connection. When we first started this academy today, I talked about just making sure that just making that connection. So when you think about the triangle of success when we first got on the academy, I talked about the qualities of coming out of the classroom that I took from the classroom to the assistant principalship. So, when I was in the classroom as a teacher, I didn't mind making those phone calls. I needed to have those conversations. You could send an email, but, hearing that parent's voice and them hearing your voice, it's just different. So as an assistant principal, that triangle of success, at any moment, any given time, you got to be willing and able to pick up, that phone and make that phone call. Where I work now, I have students who are 18, 19 years old. A lot of times they get in my office, Dr. Sykes, I understand, but you don't have to call my parent on that. I'm like, you still come to this building every day with me? Yeah, I do. So you still living under your mom and your dad roof. So I'm definitely going to make that phone call. And me being a father myself, I appreciate that. If there's any issue going on at school with my son, or if this is something positive you want to call and tell me about, that's building relationships. That's creating that partnership that you won't only give a phone call when there's something negative or there's a disciplinary action. You wouldn't make those phone calls on the positive end as well. Sometimes you got to pick up that phone call and say, hey, I know the last semester, Ryan had a C in Algebra 1, but now he has a B+. I want to let you know, I want to thank you for partnering with us and making sure he's coming to school every day. Because I also noticed that there was an increase in his attendance. So, just letting the parents know that we're all in this together, for the betterment of the student, is really important. So as assistant principal, you got to understand that, whenever you make a contact with that student in your office, please make that contact with the parent. That's the best thing that you can do. Everybody's involved. And one practice that I like to use is when I call a parent, I put it on speaker and I let them know. I say, hey, Miss Jones, I want to let you know, Ryan's over there. I'm right here and you're on speakerphone, so we all on the same page.
Yeah. The triangle of success, school, student, and parent, it's imperative, and you think about the stereotypical role of the assistant principal that is dealing with a whole lot of discipline. Well, that triangle of success can rectify a lot of that. It can bring about so much more improvement when we're proactive with it, when we're intentional with it. So good stuff. Anybody want to jump in on that?
No, that was really good. I think when you call the parents and you're able to, you always hear it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to raise a parent. I'm a parent. It's my first time having school-age kids. I don't know what I'm doing, but to hear, hey, I noticed their attendance has improved this week. Great job, Mom. You are doing such a great job. That feels so good for a parent. No, parents never receive compliments on their parenting. Their kids certainly don't compliment them on it. And so when we have the opportunity to speak life over a parent, it really makes a difference, not even just for the parent admin relationship, but for the parent-child relationship too. So any opportunity we get, even in conversations of discipline, it's saying, hey, I'm a mom, I get it, I would be upset too. Your child is doing well here, let's work together here. But mom, you're doing a great job. The fact that you took my call means you're doing a great job. And that helps parents. They'll be more willing to hear from you when they don't think that you perceive them as a bad parent.
Yep, absolutely. Let's wrap it up with Lauren once again. I don't need to read it again. Go ahead and jump on in there. Did I give you the right one?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I did.
My internet keeps, I don't know if it's me. I'm sorry.
Under normal circumstances, I would say it was us on my end, but it was only your camera. So it's probably you.
Okay. Well, I apologize for that. And I was excited about what I was about to speak about too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no.
Oh, she froze again.
I was excited to hear it. Now it's like
Yeah,
now I'm waiting with bated breath.
No. If I still talk, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Should I continue?
Yeah, no, continue because the video will work its way out as long as the audio stays there.
Oh no. There we go. We see
Okay,
you.
as long as the audio stays there. So I was talking about community partnerships, which is something that I'm very passionate about. I think as a lot of us can understand, our budget only take us so far. And so I think that where we supplement has been with the wealth of people that we have in our communities. Through Trifecta, we've been able to have our students have a hydroponic system.
Oh, man.
And I know this is going to be good. I had my notes ready.
Garden of lettuce and tomatoes. We have a Martinez market. Are you hearing me? I don't know. I'm a blur.
You went out for a couple seconds. You're here.
You're back.
I'm just going to keep doing my thing, and I hope that's okay. We have a Martinez market where our students can actually taste some of the vegetation that they're growing based on the hydroponic system. That's because of a community partner. We're able within our schedule to have outdoor classroom for our students in the courtyard every day. So that's because we partnered with a high school, with Common Ground High School. Because of Blue Earth, we've been able to, at lunchtime, have our students who we lovingly call our eco warriors. They're able to take charge of composting. We've saved thousands from going into the landfill, thousands of pounds of garbage from going into the landfill because our students saw a problem and we found a partner, and now we've had it so that they not only compost, but we were able to get a community.
See if she comes back.
Her school sounds so amazing. I'd love to attend it.
all three of you.
To continue to learn for the day.
You went out for a second, but you're back. Go ahead. Give us the last.
Oh no!
Give us the last 10
This
seconds.
is like my biggest nightmare. There's so much to say. No, the Wi-Fi has to stay with me. Like I said, I mentioned that we have PD part.
Lauren, is your phone nearby, and you can just go on the phone under 5G? Is you got a phone nearby? Your cell phone?
I do.
Yeah, you all right, go to that email I sent you with the link and just go in that way. And
all right, I'm gonna do it.
And then when you come in, I'll take you off screen.
All right, I'm going.
So to the fam out there,
back.
be patient with us because we're just about at the end anyway. We're gonna do some rapid fire right quick, and then we're right there. So stay with us. Stay with us.
Those partnerships sound amazing. She is absolutely right, though. It's so powerful for our students.
Yeah, and when you think about the community, when you really get true community partnership to come into the school building, when those students go outside the building, they see the same people within the community at the grocery stores or your super centers or whatever. So you community partnerships is a true thing, and it's a necessity for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I love that she talked about it's a way to supplement your budget, and you can provide enriching experiences for your students that they may not have had if you were just relying on the local school budget. So she named so many amazing partnerships, but that was so great to hear. Yep. There you go. Oh
yeah, now let me get rid of this one. There you go.
There you go.
You should be good there.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry, everyone.
No, that's good. That's normal. That's normal. Happens.
All right. So I went down a ton of our community partners that make field trips happen, that make experiences happen, that make workshops happen for our students. But I think the coolest partnership, as I mentioned earlier, the 3-day Vermont leadership trip. Not only do our students get their own leadership training. It is free of cost to them because I partner with the Aloha Foundation, who's been generous enough to make sure that our students receive scholarships, and we've been able to fundraise the rest of the cost. So every student, all 40 of them who are going at no cost, not even the food that they eat. Everything is included for them, which we're very proud to offer. And when they're on that trip, they're going to be organizing our JSM Community Day, which is held on World Kindness Day every single year. And what that entails is that not only do we have partners at our school, we teach our students how to make partners. So every grade band from K all the way through 8 chooses something that they're passionate about. They choose a partner, and then they do something kind for the community partner, and then the community partner does something kind and gives back. So for instance, our kindergartners, there is no age that is too young to learn about partnership and giving back. They have a unit in their social studies curriculum about community helpers. So they thought about their firefighters in New Haven. So they reached out to their firefighters. The firefighters hosted them for a whole field trip at the firehouse. They were able to get that hands-on information, but then they took back what they learned and were able to make fire safety posters based on their learning, and we're able to then give the posters to the New Haven Fire Department. And I could go up through every single grade band, but you can just imagine how impactful that gets, especially the older the students get. I think that giving students something through a partnership is meaningful, but then teaching students how to make their own partnerships, that is a lifelong skill that is going to come in handy for them for a long time to come. And it's going to be meaningful. And the more they participate in the JSM Community Day, the more partners they will have had access to.
So impressive.
That's phenomenal. I'm gonna let the two of you respond if you want to in a second. I just want to address Sheila Palmer Holland. Sheila, I don't know if this is your first time on this platform, but where you said, please invite me back. And I don't know if that was, do one of you know her? All right, there's nothing to invite. We're on every Saturday at this time at 11 o'clock a.m., 11 o'clock on YouTube at AP New Principals Academy. I see you're watching on Facebook. You can watch it from where you are right now. I always prefer folks go to YouTube, but where you are on Facebook, we're here. But if you go to the YouTube channel, AP and New Principals Academy, the 297 sessions that you missed are sitting there waiting for you, right? So you missed 297 sessions. We've been doing this now for 6 years, right? 6 years consecutively in terms of every Saturday. So go to the YouTube channel and look at the topics and find the ones that are most relevant for you. As someone who's looking to come into administration, I would dare say all 297 sessions are relevant for you, right? So take a look at them. Appreciate you. Anybody want to jump in on Lauren?
No, it's just so inspiring. I wrote it down. Like, I'm gonna definitely brainstorm about how to implement some of this. That's awesome.
And Sheila, my brother Josh Tovar, that's MPA Jaguars, he said start with number 70. That's the one that he was on.
Shameless plug.
So start with number 70 and then go to 71 because somehow I hit a wrong button and took us completely off. So we had to come back on and continue it. So it's 70 and 71, but they're the same session. All right, let's go to these rapid fires right quick. Sheila said, she said, I teach ESL on Saturdays. I'll tell you, you can watch the recording, Sheila. You don't have to watch us live. Watch the recording anytime you want. They're all on YouTube at AP and New Principals Academy. That's why I did it that way. All right, let's go to these rapid fires right quick. I had to bring them onto the screen because I forgot to print them last night, but here we go. I'm going to ask you all 7 questions each. and they're rapid fire. Just give me your one sentence or your few words or your one word. But if you find yourself inserting a comma, you have gone far too long, right? This is like, here we go. I'm gonna just start. I'm gonna go the same order I've been going. Start with Ariel. Do you feel, Ariel, do you feel that education is currently on the right path for underserved students?
I do. I do.
Do you feel?
I'm supposed to expound or not? Just say I do. Okay.
I mean, if you were throwing in a couple words, I can live with it.
Yeah, I do. I'll just keep it there.
Okay.
I do. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that true equity can occur in America's schools for Black, Brown, and other underserved students?
Yes. Well, that's my mission. If it can't, then it's my job to change that.
Does Ariel Horton's work contribute to the progress we desperately need?
That is my greatest hope.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
No, it would be the same. I love what I do.
Why do you continue to do this work?
I think I'm called to it. I think I could do anything else if I tried.
What fires you up particularly within the work that you do?
Student joy and safety.
What do you dislike about the work you do?
The negative perception that that administrators and teachers have in their relationship.
Lauren, what has been your greatest victory in your work thus far?
Building leadership.
What was your greatest mistake in your work thus far?
Not being an active listener when I needed to be, instead of vocalizing.
What has been your greatest challenge in your work thus far?
Time, but I'm going to be protecting my schedule.
There you go.
Right,
protect the calendar.
Are you proud of year one as an assistant principal?
Yes.
The next one I'm gonna skip because it's about the principalship, but let's go. Who inspires you in your work?
Every single administrator I've ever had.
What book would you recommend to our fam out there this afternoon?
Well, this book it's just incredible because it gives me so much to reflect on. And sometimes, even though I'm already in the assistant principalship for 4 years, going back and checking myself on some of those questions as a pulse check to be like, am I still doing that? It is just awesome. I keep it on hand all the time.
I appreciate that. Let me take Sheila off of here right quick so we can see your names. Where we at? There we go. All right. I just put the page behind me. Here we go. All right. Okay. Here we are. We are Dr. Sykes. What do you want to accomplish that you have not accomplished yet?
To support every high school student that has experienced homelessness in Virginia.
Are you satisfied with where you are professionally right now?
Yes.
Is there another gear to your leadership, or are you at peak performance now?
I believe I have several more gears, considering I have about 15 to 20 for retirement.
I hear that. Is there what would you say to an AP out there, one of your colleagues who continues to face closed doors to the principalship?
Make it pop. Continue to persevere. Take advantage of your opportunities that'll lead to your purpose.
I love it. What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their leadership passion?
Go back into your childhood, and you think about that time when you needed help and someone helped you, and just understand that there's a student in that building that you need to be there for.
What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their leadership confidence?
Lost their leadership confidence? Remember why you started to do this in the first place.
And finally, if Dr. Ryan Sykes was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Perseverance.
To Lauren, if Lauren Sepulveda, I don't know if I said that right.
You did.
was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
passion.
And if Ariel Horton was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Great stuff to my Milken fam. Great stuff. Let me be the first to applaud you on a job well done. And to the fam out there, and I see some of you started. I appreciate that always. Hey, fam out there, you know how we applaud our guests. If today's session, in fact, resonated with you, if it was good stuff, if it was useful, if you could infuse it or incorporate it into your leadership, then give us your favorite emojis. Let them keep flowing. I bring my small portable one. I don't have my big Louisville slugger when I'm on the road, but I got this, so you all certainly hit it out the park while I'm wearing my Negro League jersey. Cleveland Buckeyes. Good stuff, good stuff. Keep those emojis coming. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Good stuff. Good stuff. I see you. Keep them coming. Let them know that's the applause, since we can't do it any other kind of way. So just keep them coming. I appreciate y'all. Those of you who have been on with us since the beginning, I particularly appreciate you. That's a long haul, but you know, we do it every day. We're a class. This is the university, and we just dropping that knowledge with all these guest lecturers that come in here and share their experience, their knowledge, their wisdom, etc. I don't know if any of you, well, dear Dr. Sykes, I do know, but as far as Lauren and Ariel, I don't know if either of you are out here doing any kind of consulting or anything of that nature yet. But I know Dr. Sykes has a little stuff he's doing, a little speaking, a little keynote, and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna start with Dr. Sykes. How do the folks get in touch with you, Doc? If they just want to follow you on social media, if they want to rap with you and pick your brain, or if they want to book you and bring you out to do a seminar or do a keynote at a conference or a convocation at a back to school, and also to get your book, give them all the information they need.
Oh, sure thing. To get this book right here, Story of Perseverance, Opportunity, and Purpose, that is on Amazon. Book me for keynotes. I've done many of those for school divisions, convocations. RYANSYKES at popmentality.com, or you can just directly
give us that again.
Yeah, Ryan Sykes, first and last name, RYANSYKES at Pop Mentality.
Yeah, y'all got that pop. So that's POP.
Yep, POPMENTALITY, popmentality.com. Social media, Ryan Sykes, Facebook. Bill Fadouk, Ryan Sykes on Instagram. That's how you can find me, follow me. But yeah, that's me.
Give them a call, somebody. Bring them on out there. That back to school convocation, that keynote anytime during the year, that workshop, that all things pop mentality. Dr. Sykes is your guy.
Yeah, I also get my phone number too. If you know, curious, 757-409-8235.
Give it to them one more time, since you don't mind.
Yep, 757-409-8235.
There you go. Reach out to
me. My cell phone.
Lauren, I don't think you. I don't have anything that I read that said you out there on the road doing this kind of work. But just how can they follow you, or if they want to ask you a question? You guys don't have to use your email if you don't want. Just your DM, whatever it is, whatever you feel.
So my social media is very limited, but if you want to see the amazing things we're doing at John S. Martinez Sea and Sky STEM Magnet School in New Haven, Connecticut, we are on all the social medias. We are on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and that is where if you message us there, you'd be able to find me.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. And then Ariel, same thing.
You can follow me on Instagram, Very Airy Joy. That's VERYARI Joy, JOY.
Yeah, see, I couldn't find you, and I just didn't take the time to reach out to you, so I was putting all them ads up. But apparently you saw one of them or something. But yeah, good stuff, good stuff. And I'm sure, just based on all the content that you shared today, I'm sure that the two of you will be out here in some capacity, sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, your experiences in this field that we're in called education, perhaps starting off with breakout sessions at state and national conferences and just letting it grow. into wherever God's going to take it.
I haven't yet, but doing this today made me want to. So thank you for the opportunity. This was
no doubt.
Definitely an opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, this was good. This was good stuff. Let me close us out. Y'all stay on. When I go off, just stay there so we can talk off mic for a second. To the fam out there, I appreciate you being here. We got another one. I'm gonna be out again next week. I'll be in Los Angeles, but I'll be live, right? But I won't be on an island, so we'll have better Wi-Fi. But I'll be in LA next Saturday, so we'll be on it on 11 o'clock. I guess that means 8 o'clock for me where I am, but that's all right. I'm an early riser. But join me. That'll be week 299. That'll be one session away from that big one, number 300. It's still Milken January. I got 3 Milken veterans. Dr. Tanya Breland, who's from here in Jersey, who's also co-sponsor or co-host of the Nurturing Greatness Conference that I talked about before. Dr. Dil Uswate, Dr. Dilhani Uswate. I know y'all know Dr. Dil. Everybody in Milken knows her. She'll be back. This will be her second time. Dr. Breland will be her second or third, one of them, I'm not sure. And then Dr. Angie Bessendorfer.
That's my MFF.
That's your MFF.
Yeah, I love it.
Friend forever. Yeah, she'll be on, man. She used to be president of what's it called, WGU, and she brought me out there. It's a university, virtual university. But yeah, the 3 of them, and I don't know what our topic's going to be, but it's going to be something good,
really good.
Yeah, so y'all join us next week for the 3rd installment of Milken January, and then every Saturday morning, don't forget Facebook Live, Sean Hurt, 10 o'clock, Create and Educate, 10:30. with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor, 11 o'clock AP, New Principals Academy. I said Facebook, it'll be on Facebook, but go to YouTube. And then Sunday, that's called Super Saturdays. And then Sunday we round it out, and that'll be Josh Tovard and Dr. Madi Moreno. That's PGP podcast at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Now I know it's some serious football going on this weekend, so just had the TV on with the volume down and listen to what's going on. So real quick, if you don't have a copy, get yourself a copy. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? APs out there, but also principals, because you got to know how to utilize your AP. The Assistant Principal 50, and I don't know why this was in my bag, but it was the Aspiring Principal 50. So those 3, and then the other 7 that you can get them all on Amazon and ASCD. I should say the other 7 from ASCD. I've actually written 14, right? Yeah, and Josh reminded me, I was on PGP podcast last Sunday. So if you missed that, along with Principal L and another young man, if you missed that, then go on back there and watch that. We were talking about physical fitness and health and all that good stuff. So that's it. That's on that Facebook page, MPA Jaguars. As a matter of fact, it's on my page as well, and you can take a look at that. We were talking about health, and that can never be a bad conversation, right? So go on and take a look at that. Yes, sir, Josh. Go to my Facebook page to see the ad. It's right near the top about the conference we're hosting on February the 16th. I'm not going to put it back on the screen, but just go to my Facebook page or any of my social media page, my Instagram page, whatever it is, and look at the ad for the February 16 conference, Natural Greatness. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. So I'd like to see you in the building and at Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey, in my home state, Jersey. Fam, come on, just down whatever local highway gets you there. But folks from out of town, come on and catch a flight and join us in South Orange at Seton Hall University. We would love to have you there. Dr. Salome Thomas L. will be the keynote speaker. And then we're lastly, subscribe to the AP New Principals Academy. Watch the 297 sessions that you missed along with this one to make 298. Visit principalkafele.com for any additional resources. We got a lot of free stuff on there. Just go to the website, principalkafele.com. And then lastly, as always, your diet. And I'll be the first to say I've been going a little overboard on this vacation, but we'll get it back right now. but your diet, your exercise, and your virus precautions. Make sure that you're taking good care of yourself. Other than that, y'all, appreciate you being here. Look here. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Flip it. Peace. Then we go thumbs up, then cock that fist back all the way. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I'll see y'all next Saturday, week number 299 at 11 o'clock a.m. ET. Peace.